BLUELOCK's second U20 match, France versus Japan, has officially ended in one of the craziest games we had in the series. One of the scariest new gens being introduced, Isagi struggling for the first time in a while, the BLUELOCK team even splitting in half, alongside insane goals, funny slander, and character developments you'd expect in a game of BLUELOCK. This game really shook up everything we knew so far, and with the match officially over, I've compiled every chapter review so that you can have the full France vs Japan game in one easy to watch video. Whether you're catching up with the manga after waiting for the match to end, want to relive the France game with my commentary on it from start to finish, or you're watching it in the future as a new viewer of BLUELOCK, whatever it is, this is gonna be a long one, so relax, grab your popcorn, or if you're heading to sleep, turn that pillow to the cold side, and let's jump into the full France vs Japan game. The chapter begins with a view of the BLUELOCK Stadium and our starting 11s for this game. France is running a 4-5-1 with Loki up front and Hugo and Charles both in the midfielder position, which instantly takes away the Hugo goalkeeper theory, but that means he'll be able to use his brain for offense, so I can't wait to see that throughout this game, especially because he was talking mad crazy about Isagi before the match, reading his book and whatnot. And for BLUELOCK's formation, they are running the exact same 11 players from Nigeria in a 3-5-2, which is pretty questionable to me. We've made no adjustments for the ranked number one team. Like, where's our Shidos, our Barous, our Zantetsus? But I guess Ego is thinking, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, because this starting 11 did 4-0 Nigeria, which again is a little bonkers to me because Nigeria doesn't even compare to France. This is the equivalent to a hydrogen bomb versus a coughing baby. But anyways, the announcers talk about how this is Group A's third match. Japan versus France, time for kickoff is fast approaching. Our usual commentators are here. Terry Asa, to build up hype, asks Natsuki, what kind of team is the U20 France? And he responds saying they are the championship contenders. Right off the bat, being told they are the favorites to win it all is already not a good sign. He continues that, after all, the senior national team are the World Cup winning champions, as we see all of France fans getting hyped. The team is led by Loki, with this U20 squad being called the Great Golden Generation that guarantees France's future for the next 10 years. Which is a lot of hype and glaze, I can't lie, so I can't wait to see the rest of this team. Terry Asa says that he sees and Japan is challenging such a formidable opponent, as he starts hyping up our BLUELOCK boys, saying that BLUELOCK has caused a sensation and overwhelmed Nigeria 4-0 in their opening match. We see the Japanese fans all start to get hyped too, and even canonical Isagi glaze. There was a whole poster of his goal celebration from the Neo Egoist League. The dialogue even tells us that Isagi Yoichi is becoming the symbol of this generation, and that this team is gaining the most attention in the football world, the Neo Egoist BLUELOCK Japan. This is getting me so hyped for this game, y'all. We see the players start to walk out as Isagi is leading the pack in the white away kits. We looking clean here, folks. The dialogue also points it out too, as they say BLUELOCK Japan will clash with the world champions, as Loki is leading the walkout for the France team side by side with Isagi. Loki then smiles to Isagi, telling him a long time no see, egoist, and Isagi just greets him, calling him prodigy, and I like the look on both of their faces. Isagi looks locked in, which is what we're gonna need for this match, and Loki is calm, cool, and collected, even slyly smiling, which shows he's just fully confident. The next page shows us Charles mad, confused, looking around, asking if Shido is not in the starting lineup today either. And he low-key asking the right questions because I thought for sure bro was gonna start this match. Bachira says yeah, he's starting on the bench, which is low-key a Shido stray, and Charles just says if that's all, then we're totally gonna win, as he smiles at Bachira and Bachira smiles back. I like how Charles is like Shido's #1 fanboy. He is literally all the Shido fans in the BLUELOCK community, because he's pretty much saying y'all are gonna lose since Shido ain't on the team. Rin then self-invites himself to the conversation as per usual with bro, telling Charles to keep talking contrarian and that he should get ready for his pride to get crushed, with Charles pressing his nose and saying right back at you, beast. The next page shows Isagi ready to play and Loki jumping to an unhuman level of height. Like, dog, is this guy the ultimate athlete? The commentator tells us that the winner of this match will be infinitely closer to advancing, and that it's now time for one of the best matchups of the group stage. Japan versus France as we see the kickoff and head into the game. We're finally here, y'all, and we start with France's ball with Hugo getting it, and we also see the rest of the France team, which some of the designs got me scratching my head. This guy looks like there's not an ounce of happiness in his life, and I'm not one to judge, but you're telling me this guy is France's future that they were hyping up earlier? His design is like they were trying to draw a moist critical off of memory. Some of the PXG boys are also here, and from what we saw in the Neo Egoist League, they are straight buns. Like, Chappa right here is undeniably garbage. He's the opposite of New Gen 11. He's the bottom generation 11. The worst 11 players of this generation. Anyways, that's enough slander for now. We see Hugo get the ball, and it's revealed he's a central midfielder. But more importantly, they got bro looking stunning with those eyelashes. And now we can finally see what the newest New Gen 11 is capable of. He tells the France team, here we go, and straight away, everyone starts sprinting down the field. Loki is already miles ahead, Charles following too, and the rest of the France members are also making way. All the while, Hugo is directing and pointing them where to go. What the hell is even going on? The whistle blew and they're treating it like it's track and field. They even got Isagi in utter shock. Bachara is just as confused, and same with Karasu, as they say all of them sprinted full speed into enemy territory. And this man, Hugo, just says good. Nah, first we had Itoshi Sai, and now we got another nonchalant aura farming midfielder. And quickly he proves why he earned the title, because he brings the ball upfield and weaves Isagi in no time. Then bro instantly brings out the karate and uses his hand to block Itoshi Rin from stealing the ball. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Both our #1 players just got 1v2'd by Hugo. All the while, he had no emotion in his face. Yeah, he gotta go, man. Send in Sendo to take care of him. What kind of training did Hugo even have to undergo? Bro with no sweat took care of our best players. I know reading some damn books didn't make him built this different. Rin is ticked off, and Isagi is trying to comprehend his dribble that got past him and Rin, screaming out that they need to cover the pass. Just when you think it can't get any worse, Hiyori starts thinking that there are too many places to protect. It's impossible to stop them as 1, 2, 3, 4 players are running through BLUELOCK. This must have been how Nigeria felt, dog, and we're getting hit with full force. This looking like COD zombies up in here. Goodness gracious, Rayo broke his neck trying to look back, and all he sees is the dust Loki left behind. We're not done yet, folks, because Hugo hits a Kamehameha pass. And nah, peep Isagi, bro. No! This is so bad for Japan, man. If you think this game is going fast, you're absolutely right. Because how is the ball already on our defensive side in about 4 seconds? Hugo talking about some beep focus. And low-key, what the hell is Hugo even saying? It's even worse that he's cooking us at every turn while saying this. Bro got Isagi shocked as the ball seems to be going for Loki. All of a sudden, though, Nico, Aiku, and Ryu with the pull-up game come to block Loki. And damn, we really deployed the 3 musketeers to stop bro. It costed 9 elixir. Aiku asks Loki that this is the place he's aiming for, right? And that the rest of the players are a distraction, with Ryu and Nico chiming in too. I won't lie though, we put all of our defenders on one singular person. Like, we defend Loki, and then what? There are so many other players left wide open. But I can't even spaz out because we got bigger fish to fry. Loki looks backward and calls out to someone, with our worst nightmares coming true. Charles is here, y'all. And this was a better entrance than Shanks in One Piece. Everyone is gawking at little bro appearing out of seemingly nowhere. Loki is just smiles and sunshines, and compare that look to our boys. Aiku got a whole exclamation point and question mark. Yeah, that tells me all I need to know. Charles just laughs and calls out reverse, and Aiku turned into Kuso, shocked as hell that they're using Loki as a decoy to run diagonally. And now we're left wondering if Charles is gonna pass or do something else. Nico tries to jump in front of bro, and Charles jumps up himself. And I've seen this exact same face before. Bam! Charles shoots the gremlin shot, which is super unexpected, and Nico barely missed him, just slipping and sliding around, so the shot is on target. Rin and Isagi look back, with Isagi saying that it was a crazy technical combo, and the dialogue telling us that they surpassed their system and thinking in the first strike. With Nico currently down, all of our hope is on Gagamaru, and as he reaches out his hand, extending the block, Charles scores the first goal of the France game. Oh my god. Who expected this? Y'all, it's time to hit the panic button. I have never, ever seen something like this before in the whole entire manga. We've seen teams get 4-0'd, goals in 2 chapters, but I have never seen someone score in the first chapter, kickoff chapter, in a game this big. Keep in mind that France only scored 2 against England, yet they scored in a mere seconds against us. I just know Ego and Henri are just sighing from the sidelines right now. The chapter ends off with Loki saying a nice shot, Charles saying gotcha, Hugo saying it's a destiny, with the final reminder that this is the title contender, Team France. The chapter continues off of Charles's goal, with the commentators going absolutely crazy, talking about how fast of an attack it was. All of the France fans start celebrating immediately, and the Japanese fans are in distress. Bro with his hands on his head is absolutely going through it, and Ego just got no reaction. This is the face of a man who realized he should have made some adjustments, which got me hella dead. I truly wonder what Ego is thinking right now, whether he knows we're cooked, or if it's still all going according to his plan. As the commentators say a rapid fire attack and a one-shot kill, we see Charles's goal celly hopping on Hugo's shoulders. And both the new gens are just nonchalant. Hugo got 0 emotion, and Loki is showing the score to the crowd, which is just disrespectful, man. We are now 0-1, folks. And even though this panel isn't finished, it's still so fire to me, especially with the darker lines, so I can't wait to see when it's actually finished. The commentators continue about how it's a magnificent showing from France with the very first play, and that Charles Chevalier has seized the initiative. Now we get the Blue Lockers' reaction to the France goal, starting with our defensive line, and after that 3 Musketeers play, of course they're stressing out, because it's not just a Loki that's the single big threat, there is other looming threats that they're not paying attention to, which is a big wake-up call for them. Ryu just says a damn on some Kendrick timing, and Aiku got his hands on his head saying that France is insane, continuing that we fell for that ploy. Alright, bro, are we speaking French now? Who is we? I understand we all needed to stop the speedster, but taking that big of a risk and leaving everyone open, I don't know if it was the best idea. Nico explains this though, saying that the pattern wasn't in their data, and Karasu talks about France's attack, specifically their speed, the cross run, and shot quality. We then see examples of each one, Loki sprinting down the field, Hugo hitting the pass, and of course, Charles with the gremlin shot, with Karasu saying that you can explain each logically, but the goal wouldn't have been possible without incredible skill and talent. This is the absurd might of our generation's top team, Loki's French team, the favorites to win. Which I gotta say, this is like a top 5 introduction to a team of all time. I still can't get over the fact they scored in 1 chapter. But with all of the glaze going around, Rayo claps his hands to get everyone's attention, telling them to chill. They made an experimental surprise attack and that there were aspects they couldn't respond to. Their true intention is to rattle them and throw us off our game. He even got the hands up and everything, telling them to cool down their brains, which got the respect of Aiku, who says a nice mental management brain boss Mikage, which Bachira and Gagamaru agree with too. I absolutely love this from him, man. I said it before, but Rayo has gone through the 5 stages of grief one too many times in this story, so for him to remain calm in the face of France is such a good development for him. Isagi agrees with Rayo quick, telling the team that this just started, and that they have plans for when they're a point behind. They just need to focus on playing football their own way. Everyone getting their moment, trying to tell the team, and probably us viewers too, that it's fine that they're a point down because they got plans for this. So like always, we just need to trust in our boys and let them cook. Hiyori says okay, egoist. Chigiri says we have Isagi, which I'm getting PTSD from Nigeria saying we have Onazi, and Bachira says just getting started. So our boys are ready to go again. Isagi says good out loud, but in his mind he's saying don't panic Blue Lock, don't panic Isagi Yoichi. Keep giving your best to secure victory as the game restarts. We see Isagi hit a pass to Rin, Loki starts sprinting for it, and the commentators ask if Japan will make a counter, adding that Isagi and Rin are passing back and forth. They charge right up the middle, and this ends up working, even getting past Loki, But just as you think you can take a breath of fresh air, Charles, fresh off the goal, comes back into the mix. He says that he saw that in the first match of Nigeria, explaining that both of them make their way up and make it so that either of them could be the finisher, covering Rin with his hand, and now we got a Charles and Rin 1v1. But the France defensive midfielder, Bats, says a no to the 1v1 and makes it a 1v2, running in with Charles telling him to box Rin in. Rin, nonchalant as always, just sighs, saying we've already worked around this, and hits a pass to his side, dodging the both of them, which got Charles in utter disbelief. I gotta say, Charles gotta have a top 3 facial expressions in the Blue Lock verse. Bro is always on some crazy timing. He calls out that it's on the right side, and running alongside it is none other than Chigiri Hyoma, with Chappa on him. And if you know anything about the PXG game, you know Chappa is a bottom generation 11 player. Every time we see him, he's just eating crayons on screen, because he did nothing in that whole entire game. And whoop-de-doo, what do you know? Chigiri gets a cross off, even though he's still being guarded by Chappa. Like, who would have known, man? A fork was found in the kitchen. Hiryo compliments Chigiri's pass, and we see him get some insane airtime against 3 of France's players. Like, when did Hiryo get Michael Jordan hops? I don't know, but I'm all here for it. One of the France players, who happen to be from the PXG game, and keep that in mind for a few seconds, calls out for Hermes to not let him shoot. And Hermes, the France center back, tries to beat him to the chase. But Rayo's face starts half turning into the copy, and it's finally time, folks. He initiates a copy mode, and as he's in the air, we're left wondering who it is. And it's none other than Kunigami Rensuke's copy, who headers the ball away straight from the PXG game as well. And this PXG player literally experienced this firsthand, and now he's looking up to see the exact same thing. He's surprised that they're setting up a shot instead of shooting, and the ball lands over to Isagi Yoichi, who smiles and says, a nice groove, Hiryo. I guess they're moving and grooving because they've said this a couple times this chapter. With Metavision activated and puzzle pieces flying around, all that's left is for Isagi to finish the goal. When out of nowhere, Hugo appears and he got Isagi with the "he's right behind me, isn't he" look. Nah, Isagi looking the whole opposite direction, 90 degrees to the left. And this man Hugo straight up taunts him, saying, you got a good team, Blue Lock. And just look at the grip Hugo got on bro. Isagi looking like he got the wind knocked out of him. He gotta have 4 broken ribs now. I don't even blame Isagi for looking that way. He continues that, however, Isagi Yoichi, and that sentence can never be the start of anything good, as the next page shows a whole explanation on the 2-gun volley. Look at this. Just look at this. This is more information than most essays nowadays. He explains that his 2-gun thing only works when he's squaring off with an opponent, feigning either direction to make the shot unpredictable, but if one were to charge you and close the gap, his movements can be totally nullified. Yeah, Hugo just read Isagi like a damn book. Nah, this goes beyond reading. He astro projected into Isagi's mind because he figured out every step of Isagi's whole plan. Hugo is really the thinker. The $5 Neo Egoist League subscription did numbers for him because he got to see every trick up Isagi's sleeve, and it's paying off on the big stage. Isagi is struggling. Hugo says that his weapon can be crushed by logic. And Isagi says this guy ran a simulation using his movements as data. And Hugo literally got bro's number down to a T because he says, yep, that backwards volley he did during the Nigeria match can also be nullified through contact. So he just prevented 2 of Isagi's known weapons. Yo, Isagi has to start inventing something on the spot because I wouldn't even be surprised if bro knows Isagi's social security number. He knows every single thing about bro. With his personal bubble invaded, Rin calls out Isagi's name and Karasu Open asks for a pass over here. Isagi appreciates the help, but that's when Rin gets locked up by Moist Critical and Karasu got Batman on him. So it's a no-go on passing. And this madman Hugo even planned this out, saying, if we block your helpers, you have nowhere to pass to. unnecessarily going up to bro's ears and saying, if we crush you, Blue Lock is dead in the water. We are 2 chapters in, and Hugo has predicted everything. This is the Magnus Carlsen of football, and also, why do all the new Gen 11s be talking in Isagi's ear? Like, I swear, Kaiser did this, Lorenzo did this, and now Hugo did this? It's only gonna be a few more chapters till we see Loki do this too. As scary as Hugo is, though, we see Isagi's eyes start to shift as he turns around and pushes back against Hugo. Yeah, baby, Isagi ain't taking none of that disrespect. He tells Hugo that he made it this far by devouring arrogant creeps like him. Smiling, ready to take on another challenge, saying he's gonna risk it all to be number 1. But Hugo then says, but you're more suitable to be number 2 in a blacked out text box. Yo, what is going on, dog? This man is actually scary. And what the hell does he even mean by this? Is Hugo part of the Isagi hating gang who thinks that he should be a midfielder instead of a striker? Nah, this is probably the most disrespectful dialogue we've gotten in a while. And I'm not gonna lie, this is kind of funny because this is an actual debate in the community. This takes Isagi off guard, and Hugo uses that to take the ball away from him. Oh my god. That gotta be a top 3 Aura loss moments, up there with 11 trying to use her powers. Bro was all smiles and sunshines and then got humbled in mere seconds. Not my goat, man. They doing him dirty. And while Isagi is sweating bullets, there is none to be found on Hugo's face. What is up with these nonchalant midfielders, man? As he runs by Isagi, he leaves him with a parting message. Does he believe in destiny? Isagi is absolutely shocked, teeth grinding in disbelief, and now we're left wondering whether Hugo will continue to dominate or if Isagi will overcome this obstacle. The chapter continues right where we left off. Hugo has stolen the ball away from Isagi, and this is the craziest panel to start the chapter. Isagi doing a full 180 looking at Hugo leave. He repeats himself from last time, asking Isagi if he believes in destiny, and that he'll educate him. Destiny is not a fantasy, nor is it spiritual. We then instantly see Hugo hit another dark particle accelerator pass straight through Itoshi Rin and says that destiny has logic. And yeah, at this point, we just know a Hugo yap session about his football philosophy is incoming. The commentators start shouting, there goes Hugo, straight to the front line, a counter pass. And bro, Natsuki's face is literally how we are all feeling watching Hugo. This man has had like 3 chapters of screen time, outplayed both our number 1s, and Isagi 3 times separately now. This is about the only reaction you can have. Bats starts covering Karasu, who is unable to get the ball, which is actually crazy. The France NPCs are actually doing something. Bro was even skedaddling in the last chapter too. And this got Karasu stressing. He starts to realize that the ball is a straight pass to Loki, and oh no, bro. We cannot let Loki get the ball, gang. Keep in mind, bro hasn't even touched the ball yet 2 chapters in. So we've been losing a damn near without his help. If he gets the ball, it might just be wraps, bro. As all hope seems lost and it heads towards him, we see a mysterious foot in the corner, and none other than Nico has intercepted the ball. Nico, you madman, you did it. You saved the Soul Society, coming in clutch when we needed it the most. Round of applause for you, my man. He says right here, Mr. Prodigy, and we see his Metavision eyes activate. As he says, when Isagi gets the ball stolen, the most dangerous spot is right here. This even got Loki stunned, as he just says, oops, and Isagi screams out saying, nice Nico, with Hugo scoffing and saying, not bad. But we can't rest now, because Nico clears the ball away and starts inner monologuing about a plan B, saying that if Isagi's shot is blocked and countered, Blue Lock will change its attacking patterns. If our calculated team blueprint is being read, then use unpredictable individual skills as a poison stinger. I know I've been glazing, but I gotta give props when props are due. Nico been using that big brain of his, and it's paying off tremendously, as he says, punch a hole through them, Mr. Hornet, as we see Bachara dribble past another player. The monster has returned, y'all, but all of a sudden, a new NPC appears, jumping into frame like a wild Pokemon. His name is Camus, and he calls out that here he comes, number 8, squaring up for the one-on-one. And wasting no time, we get straight into the action. Bachara dribbles trying to weave him, but Camus actually manages to catch up and, even more surprisingly, stop Bachara from moving with his hand. I am in genuine shock because the France NPCs are actually competent. If this was the NEL, Bachara would already be at the goal box, I'm not gonna lie. Bachara sticks out his hand too, trying to create some space, and says that he's changing his steps to match his dribbling tempo to keep up with him. He realizes quickly that Camus is definitely a man marked specifically for him, as Bachara tries to zip away again, but Camus caught up. Bro all but confirms this as well, saying that he's been preparing for this, which ticks Bachara as he shows an annoyed smile and has to go with a plan B as well. But we see a dark shadow running in the background as Bachara switches it to Chigiri Hyoma. And honestly, when was the last time we saw Bachara and Chigiri have a pass to each other, yet alone a chemical reaction? So it's nice to see it here, and the game plan now is to use Chigiri's speed as a breakthrough. But we see someone is right next to Chigiri on his tail, saying, is that so? What the hell is even going on right now? Bro just spawned in right next to him. And as he tries to speed off, this guy named Layden catches up to Chigiri instantly. Nah, first Bachara, now Chigiri? And this ain't even Loki, the actual speedster. This is another France NPC, and he's keeping up with your speed. Y'all, we are witnessing history right now. The NPCs aren't actual bums. What kind of tomfoolery is this guy even pulling? If he's doing Chigiri dirty, then who is our answer to Julian Loki? And we've seen Chigiri do numbers too, so it speaks more volumes that this guy is able to catch up. He even says that he won't let Chigiri get past, it's impossible. Which got Chigiri absolutely flabbergasted. When have we ever seen bro look like this? Not since the second selection, man. And I know a demon if I see one, because bro is just laughing and smiling right in front of his face. It can't get any worse than that. Layden just straight up says, mind if I accompany you too? We then jump to Isagi, who is also surprised, trying to analyze the situation. He says that he was able to react to Chigiri's solo breakthrough with speed and a man mark. He also realizes that Bachara and the read of himself, everything of BLUELOCK that had a prepared backup plan, France is foreseeing one step further ahead through logic, as we see a whole security camera on every one of the BLUELOCKers. Yo, I have no words for this man, and Isagi is just frozen as well, thinking that everything they do is one step behind them. And that's when Hugo walks up to Isagi and puts his hand on his back. Nah, you don't even need to say anything. That action alone says more. He's straight up lil broing him in the middle of the game while he's trying to break it down. Hugo starts talking about how destiny is your aptitude. Physique, personality, talent, those basic capabilities are already decided the moment you are born into this world. Hugo continues that, in other words, all human beings by birth are not equal. And this even got Isagi speechless because we just see a bunch of dots for him. As Hugo continues to talk to Isagi, with his hand still on his back, by the way, saying that, but for each of these individuals, there is a suitable way to live. Chigiri is still struggling, Bachara is still struggling, as Hugo says a horse can run fast and a bird can fly in the sky. Life should be lived in its natural state, and yet only humans are unnatural. Chasing wishes that won't come true only continue to give birth to useless conflict and despair, inflating an ego beyond one's abilities or station. Hugo then says, you see, when it comes to things you aren't good at, there's no way you can beat someone who is naturally gifted at them. He's not saying that you shouldn't dream, he's saying that you should dream a dream that fits your station. And just take a good look at Isagi, bro. This guy is hating every word that Hugo is saying, because it's yet another person in his life saying he's mid. The Hugo philosophy continues with him giving an example of, if you saw a lion trying to fly in the sky, anyone would think that he is an idiot. Low-key, anytime they mention a lion, I just instantly start to think of barou, so I swear this gotta be a reference to bro. Anyways, his analogy makes sense, and Hugo says that's why it's better to live more naturally. That's what it means to live out one's destiny correctly at a genetic level. If everyone lived out their aptitudes more as they truly are, it would become a world where everyone can happily and efficiently fulfill their lives, which explains his philosophy. Now let's ponder on this for a second. Hugo's mindset is honestly just rational psychology, and some of you may even agree with it. He's actually not even saying don't dream to Isagi, he's just saying he should double down on what he's good at. In other words though, you can interpret it as basically calling Isagi not fit to be a striker or that he's not good enough, which again, I know some of y'all Isagi haters would agree with that. But anyways, Hugo's philosophy is super interesting, but we'll talk about that more later because the next page, Hugo just says it's the theory of aptitude or suitable destiny, while giving the most insane stare down of all time. Like, bro genuinely looks like a villain here. But in the opposite corner, our boy reactivates Metavision looking angry as hell, clapping back straight at Hugo. Yes, sir, we know Isagi ain't taking that disrespect, and we see it in the next page. Isagi says that he doesn't have the talent of a striker in terms of performance. Is he more suited to be a midfielder? He already knew that. He knew it so much that it hurts. And I guess Isagi saw all the midfielder agenda and he himself knows it too, which is hella funny to me because this has been here since the dawn of time. We see Isagi try to break away from Hugo and Chigiri hit a pass back, as Hugo then questions Isagi, not understanding why he lives in such a mismatch of aptitude. As we see our boy's puzzle pieces fly around, he shouts out that destiny moves egotistically. He's telling him to rewrite it because that's what he learned in Blue Lock. This is so peak because I'm not gonna lie, both sides you can actually resonate with, both Hugo and Isagi, and I think that's what really makes an interesting rivalry. As we see Isagi hit the ball away, someone says, yeah, leave it to me, and who else has that haircut? None other than Itoshi Rin has got the ball. My glorious goal. My favorite character in the series has got the ball. And he even dropped some straight fire talking about some I'm gonna destroy destiny itself. Let me not get ahead of myself though. I can't celebrate too early, folks, because one person jumps in front of him, Julian Loki. The actual final boss has appeared. Loki running in says that it's not something that changes so easily, as we see a matchup between Itoshi Rin and Julian Loki. Yo, this is absolutely crazy, man. But let's think about this realistically, y'all, because I love Itoshi Rin, but Julian Loki is like the peak of the U20, the closest to Noel Noah, so the chances are looking slim. If we want to win, Itoshi Rin gotta put up those PXG numbers, start summoning some voodoo in the middle of the field. Forget football, just pull the same shenanigans you were doing during that match. As Loki continues that it's hard to change because it's called destiny, Itoshi Rin says, like I care, as the chapter ends off on the inevitable face-off of the Destroyer and the God Sprinter. The chapter picks up right where we left off, the matchup between Itoshi Rin and Julian Loki. We see Rin's aura appears with a serious face, and Loki just smiles at bro, which immediately just tells you the type of timing he's on. Right away though, we see Rin use Itoshi size nutmeg cross elastico, and this got me so hype, y'all. Lil bro learning from his older bro. There's not any dialogue for this page, but you don't even need words to see how fire this is. We're not out of the clear yet though, as Loki just turns his head and starts running towards Rin, who's already passed him. And oh no, man, he's now using Godspeed. And like a goddamn teleporter, Loki is already on Rin, pressing him for the ball. Bro still got a smile on his face too. He thinks everything is sunshine and rainbows. Rin struggles a little bit with a Loki on him, and we see his eyes start to shift as they both break free from each other, using at this point karate. This is giving me flashbacks to the U20 match where literally the same thing happened between Rin and Sai, and there was no dialogue for that as well, so I'm a happy camper here. Loki and another defender are in front of Rin, and the goal is in sight, so with the opportunity, he grits his teeth and jumps up, attempting the shot. Rin is an absolute madman going for this shot, but that's not even the craziest part, because Loki sees this and stops smiling, reaching out his hand ready to counter. And we're left wondering whether Rin will score the equalizer, winning against the U20's top player, or will Loki continue to prove that he's unstoppable? The moment's here, folks. We see Rin actually get the shot off, blocking Loki in the process. Oh my god, did Rin really just do that? He actually blocked Julian Loki, of all people, for a shot on target. But all of a sudden, Hugo appears out of nowhere to block the shot. Hugo? Where did he even come from? Wasn't he just on Isagi? Is there a public teleporter that France can use? How does one person have the capability to do all of that? And this man is flying gracefully to block this shot. No sweat, no emotion, nothing. Just nonchalant per usual. They even gave a zoom in on his face. And again, no words here, but you can just read his face. This face is saying, "You ain't nothing, big dog." This obviously pisses off Rin, and we see the ball go out as the commentators are in absolute shock too, saying it was so close and Hugo's super block keeps France from conceding a goal. All the Japanese fans are quite literally our reactions to Rin's goal being blocked. This guy even got his hands on his head. And now we jump over to Isagi Yoichi, who takes a breath trying to understand the situation. As he looks at Hugo on the ground, he wonders if even that just now was predicted by him. Reading Rin's trait of shooting while colliding, Loki limited the shot course and Hugo blocked it. If you don't remember, this is almost a one-to-one what Kaiser and Isagi did in the NEL 2. One was on Rin limiting his shot and the other got the ball, so I'm wondering if Hugo even learned from that. Isagi, understanding the play though, realizes it's not just that. The tactics BLUELOCK prepared, as well as their individual abilities, everything has been logically understood and grasped by him. We then see all of the France team as Isagi says talents placed in the right place, bringing out a 100% performance. An aptitude-based elite collective. And you know it's bad when Isagi starts to question whether or not they can win against France. Y'all, if this is not a telltale sign that we're cooked, then I don't know what is. Hugo uses this opportunity as well and starts to talk to Isagi, telling him once again they are strong BLUELOCK. Again, with the nonchalantness, he slicks back his hair on some Kaiser timing and starts to explain their whole mentality, saying if you take the diligent collective-minded culture of Japanese football and mix it with everyone aiming to be the world's best striker, you create a hybrid team that takes the best of both. Does Hugo just have the all-seeing eye or something? Because bro just knows everything about BLUELOCK. He's gonna start dropping Isagi's birth date and blood type next, man. Someone gotta stop bro. He also ends up giving props to Ego as a coach, saying that he's an excellent individual who made that experiment a success. Which is funny, even Hugo has to point out how smart Ego is. Then it zooms in on his eyes and he says, but this is as far as it goes. He starts counting on his fingers for some random reason and says talent 66%, environment 33%, and luck 1%. I like how Hugo is unnecessarily wagging his fingers around. Like, he could have just said this out loud without raising his fingers, but nah, he had to count it out and show Isagi instead. He then starts to explain that these are the ratio of elements that make up a match. But in BLUELOCK's case specifically, it's a team that's barely been winning by Isagi Yoichi pulling in that luck. Nah, someone turned the mic off on Hugo. The amount of backhand passive-aggressive disses he's made is absolutely crazy. Like, in other words, he's saying that BLUELOCK is only winning by luck, even saying barely winning. Like he didn't need to add all that description. You can even interpret this message as Hugo saying Isagi is a luck merchant, which I know the Isagi haters are jumping for joy with Hugo calling him out for having plot armor. He then says France won't allow a situation where luck can happen. And this is ultimately the way to crush BLUELOCK. And Isagi's face throughout this whole chapter got me hella dead. Bro is getting a taste of his own medicine whenever he does this in a game like with Nigeria, but not my goat, man. Come on. We know Isagi though, and he ain't gonna take that disrespect. He calls out to Hugo saying, "Try it, you big talking jerk," but then gets cut off by Hugo, who says that quick irritation and snapping back is proof he was right. Yeah, I've seen enough, bro. Hugo is literally that picture of a guy holding a chess piece. He's playing chess while we're playing checkers. When have we ever seen someone call out a response like this? We can see Isagi have a little bit of anger in his eyes, and Hugo unnecessarily starts pointing out again, stating another fact: the BLUELOCK team has a serious Isagi Yoichi dependency. He continues that the Japanese team is currently growing on his endless new ideas. So paradoxically, he's not allowed to stop thinking and evolving. They also depict this with a beautiful panel of Isagi being quote-unquote chained with a BLUELOCK symbol, and Hugo says if Isagi stops growing specifically, the team will collapse. In an insane upwards POV of bro, like we can see the top of his head. It just doesn't stop there though, since he says that heavy pressure is creating impatience within you. It makes his plays easy to predict and easy to crush. So Hugo even knows that Isagi was struggling with the pressures of being a number one. Nah, he must have been reading BLUELOCK Volume 37 itself when he was reading that damn book. Because him even knowing the mental state of Isagi currently is beyond comprehension. Like, how does that even happen? And we see him confirm this by saying, at this point, when you're feeling pressure, you're just not fit to be number one. Because if you were number one, you should be able to joyfully enjoy this moment where you are the center of the world. Even flashbacking specifically to the panels of him realizing this. Peep Isagi's face too, man. This is about the only reaction you can have because bro is predicting everything about you, from your actions to your mental state to even the pressure you felt right before the match. Hugo then points to Loki, saying, in that regard, Loki is the perfect fit for being number one. Born with the world's best physical abilities, and no doubt that he'll become the world's best striker. Loki is just standing there smiling, taking in all the glaze, as Hugo says his mind and body are in a perfect sync with his aptitude. He is a natural born number one, and he'll be the one to produce that. Again, with the unnecessary finger movements, he makes a peace sign towards his eyes and continues that to see a world that couldn't be reached alone, he wants to become the world's number two, which even got Isagi mad confused. He calls out Isagi, saying that he of all people should understand. He doesn't mean second place, he's talking about overseeing and manipulating the second highest spot. Being the one who understands the number one better than anyone else, an equal being. And in the next page, we see Hugo reach out his hand just like Isagi did and says, come and be the number two Isagi Yoichi. Hugo paralleling Isagi is one of the craziest panels I've seen in the entire manga. And the look on his face is just scary. You can tell he ain't messing around. Just look at Isagi's face as well. When have we ever seen a bro look like this? A full blacked out panel is crazy. Mans is beyond shocked. He continues to tell Isagi that if he lives out his destiny as the number two, BLUELOCK can still become stronger, with even a close-up of his eyes, which kind of looks like the desire eyes we saw towards the start of the series. But if Isagi keeps chasing that dream of becoming the world's best striker, as it shows a panel of Jinpachi Ego, Hugo says BLUELOCK will be destroyed right here. Yo, Hugo is actually crazy, and now the ball is in Isagi's court. he has to make a decision. Does he submit and give up on his dream, or continue to push like he always does and aim for the #1 striker? As we see Loki covering Rin with yet another smile on his face, and this guy is just having fun while BLUELOCK is fighting for their lives. Karasu is shown as well, which means one of two things. This gotta be the hardest sneak-in of all time, or Karasu is about to get his time to shine. The last players are shown. Isagi is gritting his teeth, struggling, while Hugo is just nonchalant per usual, as Bachara is ready for the corner kick to restart the game, ending off the chapter on yet another cliffhanger. The chapter picks up right where we left off on a corner kick, and we see Hugo repeat himself from last chapter, with Isagi looking mad stunned. He says that if he continues to strive for the world's best striker, BLUELOCK will be annihilated here, as Bachara gets ready to kick the ball, and Isagi activates Metavision at the same time. The first OG duo is back. We saw them work together in Nigeria, so maybe they're here to cook again. Isagi tells Hugo to shut up, and refers to Bachara, asking if he can read it. We see Ryu halting one of the defenders like a school monitor, and Loki is on Itoshi Rin, which will be important, so keep that in mind for later. Bachara smiles and says, try and read this, BLUELOCK, as he hits a lateral pass, which got Charles calling it out, and Hugo is just staring nonchalantly per usual. What's even more surprising though, we see the goalkeeper start giving out comms, and this might be the first time we've seen a goalkeeper talk besides Gagamaru. We are witnessing history, folks. He calls out that it's not a cross and that it's a short corner, as we see Hiyori get the ball, since Kaneshiro remembers he existed. Hiyori actually doing something could bring a tear to my eye. Bro was non-existent the first 3 chapters, so it's nice to see him here. As Bachara sneaks on behind him, he calls out for a set play, and Rin tries to move with Loki on him. We also see Isagi dashing around too, with the goalkeeper starting to yell at the top of his lungs that they're plotting something. The next page, he finishes his sentence saying to not lose your marks. Again, I'm surprised he's even giving callouts in the first place, as we see Loki leave Rin and start to use Godspeed towards Hiyori. Yo, this gotta be the scariest sight to see. Someone straight booking it for you. Now I know how the Flash villains feel when they see him coming, as the God Speedster is incoming and Hiyori is in position to kick the ball. He actually feints it, dodging bro like he's playing a Dance Dance Revolution. Oh my god. Hiyori actually redeemed himself for being MIA in the last few chapters. And bro even dropped some devious dialogue, calling him too late, which is disrespectful to drop that line on the Speedster of all people. And not gonna lie, I've already seen one too many people say Loki is on a fraud watch for quote-unquote losing to Rin and losing to Hiyori. Everyone's on him saying that he's a speed merchant, and I'm not gonna lie, he hasn't done much yet, but y'all gotta remember, we're only like 4 chapters in and bro hasn't touched the ball still, so I don't know if we should speak too soon, y'all, because this is the same guy that had Michael Kaiser screaming at the top of his lungs and Hugo glazing him and calling him the best player in the world. Anyways, this is still an insane feat from Hiyori, and he ends up passing it to Bachara, who's already past Loki. With bro having his head turned the whole opposite direction, Bachara says, gotcha. The goalkeeper somehow getting more screen time than Kunigami talks yet again on how Bachara got the ball and him being right on the edge of the line. As he stands there, he says it's a near post shot and he won't let it pass, with Bachara having to make a decision in front of him. However, Bachara says right here, and it passes to his side, which bamboozles both Moist Critical and the goalkeeper as the ball heads towards Mikage Reo in an almost open space. My goat has pulled up, y'all, and he compliments Bachara on the pass. But just as you think all is well, Hugo comes out of nowhere and puts his hand on Reo. Not again, y'all. Hugo says where and that he won't let him shoot, even calling him the copy, as we get another close-up of his eyes. And bro, Hugo is scary, man. I mean, look at Reo's face. How is this guy showing up always at the right place and the right time? Even though Reo is scared, he ends up flashing a smile, chuckling even, as he lets the ball keep going past him, and none other than Isagi Yoichi is here. All right, y'all, it's a make or break for our boy. Will he awaken against France, prove Hugo wrong, or will it all come crumbling down for Isagi? We get into it quick. Isagi asks if this was Hugo's design. The goalkeeper is confused, asking right here, and Isagi believed Hugo was going to crush him with logic. Hugo still shows no emotion in his face, and as all the puzzle pieces are flying off of Isagi, calling Hugo the number 2 bastard, he starts smiling that he's stolen it. I'm loving the look on our boy's face, and with Hugo on rail, it hasn't been a better time for Isagi to close the gap against the winning contenders. As the ball is coming towards him and Metavision activated, Charles comes out of nowhere, slamming into bro, catching Isagi off guard. Even got him with the exclamation point question mark. Just when Isagi thinks he was free from Hugo, another player comes on him, and it's none other than the contrarian. Look at the impact there too. I just know they both got the biggest shoulder pain. Charles yells out that not yet. The contrarian is here as he starts smiling. And obviously, Isagi is ticked off. With a hand on bro too, he starts telling Isagi when BLUELOCK comes at us with a pattern they don't know, he stays on high alert for Isagi Yoichi, who is in the most annoying position. That is his job. That smile is literally the definition of up to no good. And yeah, this just confirms Isagi is permanently getting jumped this match, no matter what he does. So this is pretty much his new normal. We see Isagi absolutely bamboozled, pissed that Charles is here crushing his play. And remember, he's using some Karate Kid moves to block his right side, so his main weapon is actually gone. But that's when itoshi Rin ends up calling to him from a perfect position, telling him to pass it. And even though he got Chappa on him, this guy did absolutely nothing in PXG. Like, I'm talking a 0, zilch, nothing. So Rin probably has a free goal. And now it's a crossroad for Isagi Yoichi, kind of paralleling the first episode. Does he pass to his side to someone that can make it, or does he take the shot himself? Rin calls out to him yet again, saying over here, and then Isagi starts getting flashbacks to Hugo saying if he continues to live his destiny as a number 2, BLUELOCK can still become stronger. And Isagi rejects this idea, saying a shut up in his mind, as we see his metavisions activate yet again with all the puzzle pieces flowing. As for Isagi Yoichi, he will live as the number 1 as he goes for the shot, even with Charles blocking his right. Puzzle pieces flying and all. So Isagi made the egoist play in the end. Now, y'all gotta remember that this is his non-dominant foot, which Aiku states is around 40% of his regular right side. Rin just curses at him, looking genuinely concerned. Karasu is just left staring, and Batra is telling it to go in. As we see the ball go past RU and 2 PXG defenders, we're left wondering if Isagi has tied the game and proved Hugo wrong. As the next page reveals, the France goalkeeper has caught and stopped Isagi's shot. Nah, this shot is actually gonna have a generational damage to the actual France game and the community as well, because I know the Isagi haters are rejoicing at this moment. It's a horrible day for us Isagi fans. Yes, you and me. Also, I just know Hugo's face lit up for the first time when he saw Isagi miss that shot. He probably got a smile from ear to ear, thinking that Isagi is asking to get cooked. And not even one day, the Isagi slander is already here from the community. They're calling for Isagi to get off the road, bruh. I can't even deny that. It's funny too. This is the exact meme of seeing your goat get slandered, but they're low-key right, because I respect him for being an egoist, especially because that's what BLUELOCK is all about, taking the shot. But this was definitely an emotional one right here. Anyways, that was a monumental moment, but jumping back to it, the goalkeeper said no other choice. He already predicted it would be here, which got Isagi just gasping, like bro's a different type of shocked. The commentators and Japanese fans are in absolute distress, just like all of us to be honest, saying that the goalkeeper saved it. And like a gold scar on the floor, Hugo immediately uses his miss as an opportunity to keep flaming bro, telling Isagi that if he loses his 2-gun volley and a right foot direct, he's just an average striker. Nah, first the goalkeeper was saying he was predictable, and now they're canonically calling him a mid? Bro, Hugo is going in the books for Isagi's greatest ops. It doesn't stop there, because he repeats himself saying that At this rate, Blue Lock will be annihilated because of him, and it's time to awaken, even calling out his name. He can still change. And next page shows Hugo sticking out his hand with his aura coming off of him, telling Isagi to know his place and accept his destiny. And peep the back too, Loki looks like he's ready to play as well. The eyes and everything. Just when you think it can't get any worse, it somehow is. Looking at Isagi too, he is hitting Hugo with the death stare of generations. Batra is stunned too because he can't believe his boy is getting red like that. Hiyori starts saying how bad the situation is and what the hell do they do now, as Isagi Yoichi is useless, showing a ticked off Rin and Jinpachi ego. It really doesn't stop for Isagi. Now they're saying bro is useless, while showing the coach of all people. They might just be hinting towards the Isagi being subbed out theory. And if that happens, we're not gonna stop hearing it from the Isagi haters. But as all hope seems lost, little did they know a little crow was plotting something the entire time. Enter Karasu. Yo, this was an absolute shock because we didn't really see bro this chapter. He stands down the pitch talking about aptitude, destiny, and the world's number 2. Not gonna lie, Karasu being here is literally the picture of a polar bear in Arlington, Texas, because again, bro appeared out of nowhere and I'm now getting Kyorajin flashbacks in PXG. But I have very high hopes for Karasu, as he shows he has the flow state eyes activated and his aura pops up too, ending off the chapter on a cliffhanger. The chapter picks up right where we left off. The goalkeeper has the ball after catching Isagi's shot and gets ready to throw it to France. Aiku starts yelling to get back. Here comes the counter, and both Ryu and Ryo are panicking as well, because at the bottom of the page is a certain someone going full speed ahead. Ryo out here screaming to stop Loki, and we see bro's eyes are widened out as he uses Godspeed straight down the pitch running for the ball. Y'all, this is a horrible look. I don't know if I can handle being a 0-2 this early on in the game. It's only been 5 chapters. Got all of us feeling like Team Nigeria, so we need to lock in hard on this defense. And Loki's going a little too quick for my liking. Bro really left the enemy and his team behind. Everyone's necks are broken watching him leave. We jump over to the sidelines real quick where we see Henri and Ego. It's honestly been a while since we've seen them. I know a lot of y'all love seeing Henri, but I'm interested in seeing what Ego thinks of the France game so far, especially with his son getting shut down and Hugo's philosophy. She tells Ego that their strategies have been completely read, and bro is leaning forward, so you know he's taking this seriously. The only time in life when guys be leaning forward like this is when they have to lock in. Henri looks back at Ego, questioning if they have a plan, even suggesting a substitution maybe, which I know got everyone's attention just simply by the word substitution. Ego just sits there giving 0 dialogue, literally the meme of bro just frozen, so I guess we're not getting any thoughts on the game just yet. But more importantly, we see Loki get the ball for the first time this match, and oh no, this cannot be good. They tried getting us off guard by showing Henri and Ego so that we ignore this small panel of Loki. He looks forward and instantly starts running full speed ahead, somehow teleporting. Got Hiyori looking at his after image. And Isagi's getting a good look at his kit. So now the final boss finally has possession and he's just running it down. However, Chigiri is quick to the counter and intercepts Loki, putting his hand on him. That's what I like to see, man. If there is one matchup everyone's been wanting to see this game, it's the speedsters going head to head. I would argue Chigiri is the only person suitable for the job too, and they are just cutting it up. Even the dust is getting left behind, with Chigiri merely managing to stay on him. He says that he won't let Loki do as he pleases, and then realizes Loki isn't just fast, but his contact play is strong too, since he has an arm on Chigiri as well. But that's when Karasu comes out of nowhere and slide tackles the ball away from Loki, which is absolutely shocking to me, and Loki seems just as shocked too. Got him mad confused with an exclamation point question mark. But I will say, I still don't know if bro is full trying, because he's not sweating or really doing much even. Bro just ran in a straight line. Yeah, I'ma just say he's not trying at all. I know it's bad looks because first time Loki got the ball and he's boosting the narrative fraud allegations. I've seen so many people already call Loki a fake demon because 5 chapters in and he has yet to do any single thing of note, but the statement can go the other way too. 5 chapters in, and he still hasn't shown us a smidge of what he's capable of. I've got PTSD from the times we've seen him, so only time will tell. Chigiri says nice job complimenting Karasu, and Karasu actually has the ball now. So BLUELOCK is back in possession, all in part to the Crow. Immediately, he starts staring down the field, saying thanks to Chigiri challenging Loki, he was able to read the rhythm of the dribble and barely pull off a tackle. Karasu starts questioning what the next move should be as well, saying that they should assume all routes relying on Isagi is dead. Charles then jumps in, taunting Karasu, and he realizes at the rate they're going, they'll just get red and slowly crushed. He then pulls a Thanos and realizes he needs to do something himself, as we see him start running with the ball upfield, Crow Aura following him and all. We also take some time to get Isagi's dialogue, with him having a flashback of Hugo's words from last chapter, telling him to know his place and obey his destiny. In the present, Bro starts thinking that his skills aren't good enough and repeats that living as the number 2, if he devoted himself to making the team win instead of his own goal, the team might evolve. That might just be the best answer to defeat the world champions France, but that isn't BLUELOCK. Isagi shouts out to Karasu to pass to him, and internally, he thinks that to become the world's best striker, this ego is the one thing he won't yield on. He'll figure something out. I'm not gonna lie, this close-up panel of his face really shows how much he's struggling, and Karasu in the next page sees that, because the gloves are off and he just starts flaming Bro. He calls him an idiot, and France isn't the kind of opponent they can beat with just willpower. If he relies on Isagi any further, BLUELOCK dies here. Nah, getting flamed, the desperation on his face. They doing Isagi dirty, man. I'ma have to endure this for the whole game, huh? Isagi getting embarrassed left and right. This game is literally the law of equivalent exchange, because Nigeria was full glaze on Isagi, and now it's turned into a glorified hating session on Bro. Both are correct in their certain circumstances too. I'ma be for real. We need Isagi ASAP on that Rin training, because he needs to get Hugo out of his head. He can do better, man. Anyways, Karasu says that something has to change. He has to change right here, as we see his flow state eyes activate. And in the most elegant, beautiful panel I've laid my eyes on, Karasu awakens, saying for the sake of BLUELOCK, he will become number 2. Oh my god. The wings, the claws, the eyes. This is so peak. This might be a top 2 aura of all time. Right behind my boy Itoshi Rin. Karasu literally transformed into the calm down Isagi meme. The fit upgrade is immaculate, and now it's time to see his awakening unfold. Next page, we see him start dribbling with wings on his back, getting past bats, and even surprising Hugo. Someone even more shocked than him is Isagi, who realizes that Karasu used his movement as a decoy to dribble past him, and I can't get over Isagi's face here. Bro is flabbergasted at this. Isagi questions if Karasu is planning to take it all the way, and wonders if they've ever practiced this pattern. What exactly is Karasu aiming for? Charles is confused too, saying that the vibe shifted, and the goalkeeper shouts out again, watch out for the shot. Here it comes again. But Karasu in his mind knows he's not going to shoot, as next page shows him analyzing the field and telling himself to erase his consciousness as a striker, strip away all the unnecessary information, and use himself as the number 2. Karasu is actually the definition of locked in, fully undergoing the Hugo propaganda, the flow state eyes, vision on the whole field, getting ready to create a new design. He spots Bachira first and says not there. He refers to Chigiri as well and says that won't work either, and then he calls Rin an idiot, reaching out his hand with a crow design. Yo! Karasu turned into Noct from Black Clover. Shout out to my Black Clover fans, but seriously, what tomfoolery is Karasu on? The Nigeria game and the last few chapters, he was just doing okay. It was passable, but Karasu stocks is quite literally the equivalent of 2012 Bitcoin. He's out here moving like prime ego Jinpachi. Anybody who invested in Bro is up big right now. Karasu is trying to figure out what the best option most suitable for a goal is, and the next page, we see him hit a pass while holding back bats. And damn, this pass got some impact to it. Feathers flying everywhere. Peep the arm on bats too. He really trying his hardest out here and still getting violated by Karasu. It genuinely puts a smile on my face, man, to see other characters get their shine. Karasu really did numbers this chapter with taking the ball, dribbling, and getting a pass. But the big question is, who is the pass going to? Bachira, Chigiri, Rin, and Isagi are all out of the equation, so who possibly could it be? As Rin and Hugo are staring at the ball, Isagi is shocked yet again. Karasu says the striker is you. That's right, y'all. It's none other than Hiyori who receives the ball. What a plot twist. Hiyori, the OG duo, is coming back. These two have a history together. Questionable history and dialogue, I would say. But this would be the first time seeing the combo on the big stage. Okay, Hiyori, you have one job. Don't piss me off. At the current moment, you have a 0% goal percentage. We need you to change that number. I know the community is completely divided with Hiyori getting the ball. It's either people who have lost all hope, already believing it's over, or people who believe in Hiyori that he'll make the goal. Either way, man, we just need someone to do something. Karasu tells Hiyori, let's go, you super sadist. And Hiyori says, fine, we're stuck with each other. As both their aura eyes pop up, and the chapter ends off there. The chapter picks up right where we left off, with Hiyori receiving the ball and the commentator saying, a pass to the left side, the ball is now with Hiyori, yo. I know people have been doubting Hiyori, and at the current moment, they're low-key right. His goal percentage is straight zeros, but if he cooks this chapter, then he'll definitely make up for it. We then see him activate Metavision with his aura eyes popping up, saying, me too. He was thinking the exact same thing, referring to Karasu, as he hits the dash down the pitch. Hiyori comments that all of Isagi's attack patterns have been shut down. He's too slow, so there is no choice but for someone else to create a different pattern. The only ones who can do it now are Hiyori and Karasu. Honestly speaking, we've barely seen them work together in the actual manga, but we do know they have a past together, so if there's any time to shine, it would be right now. Renoir starts screaming out that he's free and someone needs to mark him, and we see Moist Critical pull up for the defense game, but Hiyori makes quick work of him, weaving him by cutting it inside. Wasting no time, Hiyori immediately starts aiming for a shot. However, two more defenders pull up in front of Hiyori, so even though he's in a shooting motion, he ends up hitting them with the pump fake and passing it to his right where Karasu is, because there is no path, which got every France player and their moms confused, as three of them are straight hollering at Hiyori's play, basically confused at another lateral pass. Hiyori, like the good femboy midfielder he is, basically realizes that this is a perfect opportunity for Karasu to take the shot now that the defensive line is in chaos. He's thinking to himself that Karasu needs to shoot now. However, we jump over to Karasu and we just see bro seething and clenching his teeth. Karasu says, that's not it, you idiot. He is the one who is supposed to shoot. And then we get a flashback to the time they were on a team together. And Karasu says his talent as a striker is what he, who was on the same youth team as Hiyori, knows better than anyone else. He's hyping up his boy, and I respect it. And he continues that the conflict regarding football changed here in BLUELOCK. Karasu is the one who's seen it all. Karasu then pulls a LeBron and passes it back to Hiyori for a heat check, which got bro mad confused, wondering why it's another pass to him. I mean, just look at bro's face. Karasu kind of just gave up the shot, but it's cool to see that he's confident in Hiyori, and he explains that too, saying precisely because it's him, he can bet on it. Hiyori has an extraordinary shooting ability. So Karasu is all in on the Hiyori stocks. I will say, Hiyori was literally built to be the #1 striker from his mom and dad, but even the Nigeria goalkeeper was out here blocking his shots, so at this point, it's all trust. Now, as the ball goes to Hiyori, he's left with a crossroad of decisions, because Rin appears to his right, seemingly shaking off Hugo and calling out to his name. Isagi also runs in, telling Hiyori to pass it, but he has someone on him, and Hiyori is already in the mindset that Isagi is useless, so we all know he ain't getting the ball. To make the decision even clearer, though, Karasu in a blacked out text box just says, shoot, you idiot. With Karasu standing in front of bro, Hiyori says precisely because he shifted all awareness towards being number 2, an idea has emerged. And in the next page, we see Karasu holding back 2 of the France defenders. And something ain't right with bro. He looking mad scary. Got Karasu moving like prime Tobey Maguire, holding back the train. And just peep the fit upgrade too. Immaculate. Bro got the claw aura over his hands. And he's straight gripping the defenders. Just look at their faces too. They ain't ever seen anything like this before. Karasu says that there is a path to victory called self-sacrifice, and he tells Hiyori to shoot it again. We even get a close-up of his eyes as we see his crow aura creeping up his neck and him saying euphoria. As Hiyori's aura eyes pop up too, and him saying he believes in the extraordinary. So we all know bro's gonna take the shot, which I can't lie, that was super quick. It's only been a few pages and it's just straight action. The decision is up to y'all now though. Do we put our faith in Hiyori, or will someone teleport and block his shot? We'll find out soon enough as Hiyori immediately goes for the shot. And yo, so much is going on here right now. Karasu with literal wings on his back, still holding back the defenders, actually ducks his head too. And this was all to open up a shooting path for Hiyori. And low-key, Karasu gotta get an award, bruh, because the amount of creativity for this play deserves a round of applause. The France goalkeeper is stunned, saying, "What?" explaining the play. Karasu lowered his head by a hair's breadth, creating a shooting lane just 1 ball wide. And as we're all waiting in anticipation, Hiyori Yo, against all odds, will he make the unexpected goal, tying the game back up for Japan? Or will it be someone unexpected blocking his shot? Hugo, Loki, and Charles are all still missing. As the next page reveals, Hiyori has scored the first goal for Japan. Sound off the alarms. Hiyori has actually done it. Who would have predicted this? His first goal of the manga. I'ma keep it a buck. Hiyori before this had a 0% goal percentage. He was shooting like Dashi out there. So it's illogical to think that Hiyori was missing this, especially because we didn't see any of the big France players who can pop up at any time, especially Hugo. That being said, the Hiyori Glazers, I wasn't familiar with your game. Y'all were right. I gotta give props when props are due. Love it or hate it, the U20 World Cup has been giving us the most unexpected goals, like Bachara's goal, Charles' goal, and now Hiyori's goal, which I'm loving so far. Jumping back into it, Charles looks stunned and he says we didn't hear about this. A goal without Isagi Yoichi, as we now see the score is tied up and Hiyori's goal has icicles coming off of it. The commentators start getting hyped, saying the famous words, "It's a goal," as we see Hiyori and Karasu hit a goal celly together. The crowd starts cheering as well, and it says, with a trick shot from Hiyori Yo and Karasu Tabito, Blue Lock has tied the score. Chigiri and Bachara come in to celebrate. Low-key, I don't know what's going on with Bachara's face, but peep the back, because there is one man with his hands on his knees not celebrating. It's Isagi Yoichi. And Isagi in disbelief says, "We did it. We caught up." And I'ma keep it a buck. This was all Karasu and Hiyori, dog. Bro really think he part of the team. But anyways, he says they're back to square one, but tries to analyze the play. He realizes that the way Karasu just played, it looked like a playstyle that completely threw away his own chance to score. Isagi questions to himself if that's really okay as a way of fighting in Blue Lock. In other words, Karasu did throw away his striker mentality for Hugo's number 2 mentality, which kind of goes against what Blue Lock stands for, hence why he's questioning it. And we see Hugo pop up, and oh brother, anytime Isagi is on screen, Hugo is always there. Like he's right behind me, isn't he? Ready to start trash talking. Hugo then starts his dialogue saying, "A goal without Isagi Yoichi. Individuals possessing the brains and talent of a number 2. He acknowledges Blue Lock, saying not bad, and that this is the destructive power of a matching aptitude that he was talking about." So now, bro's using Karasu and Hiyori's goal as proof for his theory being right, which I'm hella dead. This guy always got an ulterior motive. Look at Isagi's face too. He is just ticked off. And Hugo just starts his analysis, saying, "Let's see, if you were to add one more number 2 role to the frontline formation, Blue Lock would reach a level where they can truly compete with France." Isagi is the one holding the keys to destiny. And I can't help but just laugh, man. This is the most rage bait, passive-aggressive sentence ever. Hugo straight belittling him, saying, well, well, well. If only Blue Lock had another number 2 who happened to be Isagi Yoichi. Out of nowhere, though, we see someone grab Isagi's hair and telling Isagi not to listen to him. He is destined to devour the number 1 spot along with me. So someone helping Isagi when times are rough, and it's none other than Itoshi Rin, my boy, hyping up Isagi. And this literally got me smiling ear to ear. We've come so far because a few months back, Rin was hitting Isagi with a low-tier god speech. And now he's here to back him up, giving that mutual respect and saying that being the number 2 is lukewarm. But I can't deny, y'all, this face on Isagi is not a good look. When have we seen Isagi make this face, bruh? Got him looking like Kaiser after the results of PXG. Someone get my boy some help. And this face got the community slandering him left and right. I do understand he's going through a mental crisis right now with Hugo in his head, so take all the time you need, dog. But the more time, the more slander you're gonna have to undergo, and it hurts me, man. Isagi really is going through it, though, as we get a close-up of his eyes, wondering which philosophy is correct. And then we jump over to Henri, who's excited over the goal. She says that they did it, the invention of an unknown attack pattern completed by Hiyori and Karasu. With this, they can still stay in the fight. But Ego, with his hands folded together, says no. As the next page shows, Ego now has the blacked out text boxes saying this is outside his calculations. This chemical reaction is not the phenomenon he desired. Which I'm getting an ominous feeling, y'all. Ego basically isn't messing with the Hiyori and Karasu goal, which is most likely because Karasu threw away the blue lock mentality just to tie up the score, which is setting up the big dilemma for this game, as we see Henri confused and Isagi still baffled, asking himself what he should believe in. As the last page shows Hiyori, Karasu, Rin, Hugo, and Ego, with Isagi in the middle as a black silhouette, and low-key, this panel is peak with everyone here. Isagi says, right now, what is happening in Blue Lock, as the chapter ends off there on yet another cliffhanger. The chapter picks up with Blue Lock celebrating Hiyori's goal. We see Chigiri jump on top of Hiyori's shoulders. Bachira is just slipping and sliding around. And Ryu has me hella dead because bro is just posing in the back. That Hiyori goal was so unexpected, so it's cool to see him get his applause and flowers. The commentators say Blue Lock has finally caught up. This heated battle is far from over. It starts here, as the crowd erupts into cheers as well. We then jump over to Isagi, who isn't really celebrating, but asking the same question from last chapter. What is happening in Blue Lock right now? Where is the team heading? He stands there asking himself what should he believe in, and looking over to the side, we see Ego with his hands folded just looking at the team. This pose is seriously reserved for the greatest thoughts of all time. The person who came up with the air fryer definitely hit this pose too, so Ego has to be deep in thought. Isagi says Ego's name, sort of hoping for an answer, and then it starts, y'all. Karasu is on Isagi's side telling him, hey, listen up, while Isagi is taken off guard. And what proceeds for the rest of this chapter is what you call real hands. The gloves are off, and it gets heated. Firstly, Karasu, looking in a good mood, tells Isagi we're going with the current way of doing things, which Isagi is confused at, and he clarifies that the marking on him was so tight, the strategy they prepared wasn't functioning at all. So like he did just now, he's gonna completely commit to being a support. He continues that he's gonna invent a new goal pattern through a route other than Isagi, and says, to beat France right now, this is the only way, isn't it? And after scoring that goal and assist, the damn fit upgrade, it's understandable why Karasu wants to switch up the method. But as you know, Isagi already doesn't like the idea of this. So he asks a question to Karasu. Is it okay for him to just throw away his life as a striker? This got Karasu with the eyes wide open, like he can't even believe what he's hearing right now. He's taken aback saying, not really. He's not saying he's throwing it away. Then Karasu Karasu pulls out the Isagi files and says, hasn't Isagi done this before too? Switching to an assist temporarily or becoming a link-up player in order to get the result that makes the team win. Isagi can't even deny this, saying yeah, but, which gets interrupted by Karasu, who says right now he's just doing the same thing as that. He then brings up if Isagi starts talking about the way as a striker, then what about Gagamaru playing as a goalkeeper, or the other players playing as defenders? They wouldn't be able to do their jobs. Isagi says that he's right, but somehow he feels a sense of a wrongness coming from him right now. And low-key, Isagi, what is that even supposed to mean? I get what Isagi is trying to say from a reader's perspective, but imagine being Karasu here. Someone just tells you your vibes are off after assisting a goal and saving the team. Bro's recreating the Marvel rival situation. Isagi trying to play for the vibes. And Karasu thinks Isagi's straight bugging. He's not trying to hear none of that. Asking him, what's that even supposed to mean? Don't go denying it just because he can't put it into words. Karasu, with his crow on him, says, at the very least, unlike you, the current me is trying to change for the sake of BLUELOCK, you idiot. But after hearing this though, Isagi makes a realization and can now use this. He starts telling Karasu, that's it, that's the true nature of this wrongness I feel. So it's not just the vibes. Again, we knew this as readers already because we can see into Isagi's mind, but Karasu is confused and Isagi starts telling Karasu it's weird for him to say he's doing it for BLUELOCK. Playing football where the subject isn't for myself, he can't believe that's the right way to be an egoist. And the shots are fired because Karasu hits Isagi with the emotionless side eye of doom and despair. You can just see the pure hatred in his eyes. It's making me feel like I did something wrong. In other words, Isagi pretty much calling Karasu unfit to be an egoist, which is the foundation for his argument. And in a way, Isagi is right too, because BLUELOCK is about putting yourself as the number one. The thing is, Karasu is the one who just got an assist and honestly created that goal for us, yet Isagi is the one who's been ineffective so far, and he's still telling Karasu his way is wrong. Those are the two sides, and both have their rights and wrongs. We jump back straight into the debate though, with Isagi saying everyone aims to be the world's #1 striker. He's bending that philosophy and being influenced by Hugo's words. Bachira, Chigiri, and Hiyori are staring as well, wondering what's going on, and we see Isagi straight up tell Karasu that as the #2, he's making the team winning the top priority. The current you is absolutely wrong for BLUELOCK. Yo! Isagi is not holding back. Straight flaming bro for even existing is crazy. In front of the whole gang too. I just know the cameraman is recording this conversation up close and personal. And Karasu is not taking any of that because in a blacked out text box, he says, fine, then you go score a goal, you piece of trash. Holy mother of pearl, it's getting heated in here. Grab your popcorn, folks, and your favorite snacks, because this is cinema. Let's be honest, though. Karasu's crash out is justified here, because, again, he did just get an assist, but we jump over to Isagi being confused, saying, what? And Karasu continues that since Isagi is not working out as a striker, he's over here trying to recompensate and change by taking in the opinions of the enemy. Or what? Is it more BLUELOCK-like for us to get crushed by France just for Isagi Yoichi's sake? And he's not done yet, folks, because he finishes saying the one who's trying to destroy BLUELOCK by acting like a #1 and spinning his wheels is you ordinary person. Oh my god. Every single line in this chapter got you reacting like I show speed. Now Karasu is back to calling Isagi mid. The switch up is crazy though. Wasn't he calling bro the Demon King last game too? Isagi just seen his dogs turn into snakes. And peep his reaction too. You could just tell a crash out is incoming. And in the next page, we see bro start yelling at Karasu. Isagi says him too. He was thinking about BLUELOCK too. But this panel is just not a good look for Isagi. Karasu nonchalant posed up low cortisol. Bro out here thinking he Ayana Koji. And Isagi is screaming like a banshee. Veins popping and everything. This is an image seen around the world. Many timelines have had this same exact experience. one mad person and a nonchalant person. Isagi, still yelling at the top of his lungs, tells Karasu he's standing here having thought about how he should be as BLUELOCK's #1 for the sake of BLUELOCK. But Karasu hits him with the counter, telling Isagi he's saying for the sake of BLUELOCK. How is that any different from him? Landing a finishing blow on bro. And this was a little sloppy on Isagi's part, because Karasu's words hit him like a truck, and all he can say is ah. But before it can escalate anymore, Aiku comes in pretty much telling them, whoa, 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 they both need to calm down. I'm getting a feeling of deja vu because this was the exact same scenario that happened before. I know we talk about Shido and Rin not coexisting, but these two might just be as bad. Aiku smiles and calms down the situation by saying both are correct. How about thinking of it that way? He continues that the results came from the way Karasu suggested, or Karasu's philosophy. And the egotistical philosophy Isagi is talking about is important too, so taking both in account, he fist bumps his hands and saying, let them clash intensely. We'll find a new form for BLUELOCK and win. How does that sound? Flashing a smile to end it off. And Aiku really showing why he's the captain, man. Cooling down the team and acknowledging of both sides. Truly a W Aiku moment. We made the right person famous. Anyways, Isagi agrees kind of reluctantly, and Karasu says fine. Either way, BLUELOCK, it seems like if they don't change now, it's gonna be over. While we see Jinpachi Ego still leaning forward, so he gotta be cooking something up. We now jump over to France's reaction to the goal, with Charles saying they caught up, Loki saying this way is better because it'll be more enjoyable than a total blowout, but worse than both of them, Hugo agrees, saying from here on, he will lead this battlefield even further towards destiny, passing the ball and restarting the game. We see the ball go straight to Loki, and itoshi Rin pulls up, telling them to give it a shot, you flawless group. Over here, they're starving for a goal as the matchup between Rin versus Loki begins. And I'm super hyped for round 2, y'all, because Loki just smiles and saying, oh, same here. But that fight is gonna have to be for another day, because we jump over to Isagi, and what is this camera angle on, bro? Nah! They purposefully try to do my goat dirty. But more importantly, we start getting Isagi's inner thoughts. He talks about how the way for the next goal has been decided, but nothing has really been resolved. He brings up Karasu and Hiyori's goal earlier, saying that if they became aware of it once, it's hard to use it again. It has a low reproducibility. So Isagi says unless he becomes effective, nothing will change. And I like the motivational speech, Isagi, but actions speak louder than words. We need to see some results, dog. There is only one caveat to this, though, because he says the way of life known as #2 is something he absolutely hates after all. And look who has appeared. The boss music starts as Hugo stands right behind Isagi, and Isagi's face of shock is one we can all see. Isagi got the he's right behind me, isn't he look. Hugo, on some ASMR timing, goes up to Isagi's ear and tells him #2 is being an egoist too, you know. And peep this. I know y'all see Hugo is resting his chin on Isagi's shoulder. Man, this is just harassment at this point. He's invading his personal bubble. His to-do list only consists of gaslighting Isagi. This man's single purpose in life was to rage bait bro. I'm hella dead. Hugo is still trying to infiltrate Isagi's mind by telling him being the #1 isn't the only answer in life. And take a gander at Isagi's face. This is the face of someone who's truly scared. We see Isagi's body start to move, and bro slaps away Hugo from him. And look at the form here. His hand was so high. He was going for the elimination. He was aiming for his head. He literally took Thanos' advice. Isagi heard enough of Hugo and tried to end the conversation in another way. But as they stare each other down, Hugo says, listen to me, Isagi Yoichi. Listen to his number 2 ego. So we're about to get another Hugo yap session coming into the next chapter. And Isagi is already dreading the thought of that, clenching his teeth and sweating as the chapter ends off there. The chapter picks up with Hugo continuing his conversation with Isagi. He tells him, listen up, Isagi Yoichi, and he'll tell him about his second best ego. One page in, and Isagi is already clenching his teeth. He does not want to hear a single word coming out of this guy's mouth. Isagi for real needs to take off the translation earbuds, and we'd see him back in his prime. Itoshi Rin is on Loki, but he blocks him and actually passes it away, dodging the fade. And not gonna lie, so far, we haven't really seen much of Loki, but we shouldn't judge too quick. The ball ends up going to Hugo, who continues to talk while keeping the ball. He tells Isagi, in the first place, being number 2, he thinks it's just someone who couldn't become number 1, right? He then holds out his hand like a damn traffic officer and continues telling Isagi that's where he's wrong. And I mean, peep Isagi's face, mans is beyond stunned, which is a common theme for this chapter. Hugo then says, you guys are just conditioned to believe that you have to be number 1. He's being brainwashed by that bowl cut for eyes. So Hugo throwing ego strays now. And you know Isagi ain't gonna let someone talk about his dad like that. So he tells him to shut up and be quiet. He doesn't want to hear it. Not his twisted personal theories. Hugo is doing everything in his power to do the complete opposite though, still dribbling past Isagi and asking him, the way he uses his talent, doesn't he ever feel like it's such a waste? This confuses Isagi, who just says, huh, while we see Barou, Yukimiya, and Hiyori as a thought. And bruh, they did Barou so dirty. Like they chose his worst look of all time from the first selection, pre-glow up and everything. Kaneshiro for real playing favorites, you can just tell. Anyways, Hugo says, ever since I can remember, it has always been this way. Which you already know means we're about to get a flashback. And whoop-de-doo, what do you know? We see Lil Hugo looking fresh in what seems to be a classroom of some sort. But while everyone is playing with their numbers and whatnot, Hugo is just standing there. He questions why everyone, without properly knowing themselves, want to do things they can't do. They live their lives craving things that are out of their reach, and it just makes him itch. Hugo continues talking about himself, saying, when I see humans failing because their talents and self-image are unaligned, it makes me want to correct their mechanisms. I was naturally gifted with that sensitivity, I just can't help it. We also see Hugo with a bunch of cogs behind him, bro really adopting the Yuji Itadori mindset, but the cogs are important for later, so keep that in mind. We jump back to the present, and Hugo continues to explain that's why he tells everyone he meets, if he does it like this, you'll get so much better. Mid-conversation though, Hugo is still crossing up Isagi and nutmegs him getting a pass off to Charles, which might be one of the most atrocious acts of disrespect. Bro casually hitting passes while lecturing him. He gives more examples saying, if you do it like this, you can beat that guy. Or if you do it like this, you'll be more popular. Even going as far to say, if you do it like this, you'll be more loved. And Isagi, like the rest of this chapter, is absolutely disgusted hearing these words coming from Hugo's mouth. You would think Hugo was talking about some vile stuff with the face Isagi is making here, because bro is grossed out, saying, what the hell is that? He's just a self-centered meddling nuisance. And I won't lie, even though Isagi is getting cooked, there is truth to what he's saying. It's not like anyone is asking for Hugo's advice, yet he's still pushing his ways onto them. But Hugo understands this himself, saying, yeah, exactly. This is something I want to do, so it's fine if I'm hated for it. It's not charity, but it's not spreading malice either. Which has me hella dead. Hugo is self-aware, intruding into people's business, yet he doesn't care. He wants to share his opinion no matter what. If that's the case, Hugo would be one of those friends who keep it real with you and doesn't sugarcoat it at all. So if that's not your cup of tea, you gotta approach bro with a 6-foot stick. Jumping back into it, we see Charles hit another pass back towards Hugo, and the man chest traps it, while still dropping dialogue, by the way. Like, this is insane to me. He's been doing this the whole time. Hugo then self-glazes, saying, fate changes by the simple fact of meeting me. And creating that kind of person is irresistibly interesting. And Isagi, no, Hugo got bro in the Michael Jackson position, leaning forward and everything. and him being absolutely shocked, he says this guy is a little like me, while it flashbacks to the Nigeria game with Onazi and Isagi motivating him too. To break this down because it's a little confusing, Isagi evolves people by motivating them to do it themselves. That's what we saw with Onazi, but Hugo just straight up points out their flaws like with Isagi. In the end though, they're both technically helping and evolving them, and that's why Hugo's character is very interesting, because it's not like he's 100% wrong, he's still helping others. And he even asks Isagi, that's the joy of living, right? Hugo continues saying, as for him, Isagi Yoichi, he wants to know the meaning of why he was born into this world. Yet again, Isagi is still getting cooked as Hugo goes on past him, and this chapter has just been an Isagi humiliation ritual. We are all feeling like this. We see the rest of the blue lockers panicking, with Ryo saying watch the pass, Aiku saying he's free, and Karasu saying he can see it. Hugo then continues that his talent is suitable for changing others to make the world turn, so he's never once wanted to be a striker. And as the second best and as a midfielder, he wants to win the World Cup. Loki is being covered by Karasu while Aiku is watching Charles, with Hugo asking Isagi if he knows what the record for the most World Cup titles in human history is. He says it's 3 times, the record being held by the king of football, Pele, as we see Loki say, come on Hugo, heading towards the goal. Charles sneaks on behind Aiku as well, saying just kidding, this way, and we see Hugo's eyes change for the first time, looking like that gear cog shape. He starts off saying that's why he wants to win the World Cup 4 times. As we see his cog aura coming off of him, getting ready to kick the ball. Even if you're a Hugo hater, you can't deny that this aura is straight heat. They have everyone fitted up this game. First Karasu and now Hugo. And to everyone's surprise, Hugo kicks the ball going for a shot, saying he'll become a legend of humanity. And this has me flabbergasted. The ball even has a gear aura too. Hugo's eyes are no longer emotionless, and both Karasu and Loki are stunned seeing Hugo shoot. Karasu dialogues saying what, and that Hugo took all the pass courses his teammates created and turned them into decoys. Somehow, Loki got treated as a decoy too for Charles' goal, so I can't help but think this is their strategy. Anyways, as the ball heads towards the goal, it's left to Gagamaru to block it. As he reaches for it, he comments, so it was Hugo who went for the shot, with the next page showing Hugo scored the second goal for France. And bruh, it's actually time to pack our bags. Long story short, it's over. The midfielders have scored on us, and Loki has still yet to get a shot off. Who would have thought Hugo gets a goal before Julian Loki of all people? Hugo really proving why he's a new gen. And don't go judging Loki too quickly, y'all, because once Loki actually gets his time to shine, the last bit of hope we didn't even know we had will be gone. Loki will return in Avengers Doomsday. Anyways, this brings France back into the lead against BLUELOCK, and we see the French fans celebrating. Isagi is also in awe, just saying it's huge. So that's Hugo's dream. It's not a matter of being number 1 or number 2 anymore. I won't lie, folks, Isagi definitely got embarrassed here, like he was the one who was supposed to be on Hugo. Yet he got him at every twist and turn. Also, Nico just simply got erased from fiction, and Rin, after the 1v1 with Loki, got the milk. There were too many missing BLUELOCK players here, so you can just tell BLUELOCK is struggling. We get more Isagi dialogue on Hugo's goal, though, with him glazing Hugo like he's this universe's Marlin. He says his dream is bigger. Glaze. He's smarter. Glaze. And he's even more egotistical than me. Glaze. But there is a hell of a lot more to analyze on this page, because we see the ref blow the whistle, and that marks the end of the first half for the France game. Which should be an amazing sign for everyone, because we got a lot to address, gang. Ego was taking strays from Hugo, and he has yet to comment on anything. Potential subs and new strategies. I just know the locker room is about to be heated, and reading that will be a fantastic time. That's where we get our popcorn, folks. That's not all, though, y'all. Hugo uses his goal to further his point, telling Isagi, even with this, do you still hate being the second best? with his gear aura appearing on him, replacing his eye, and even seeing his aura coming off the other eye. But folks, I don't think any of y'all are ready for this chapter's cliffhanger. This is absolute cinema, and I know everyone will be jumping out of their seats. We see Jinpachi Ego with the text of the U20 World Cup, third match, Japan versus France, end of first half. He's talking to someone saying, get ready, you're going in from the second half. Shido and barou appear with Ego saying double joker. Oh my god. The Zesty Demon and the King have finally appeared. It's time for the duo to save the Blue Lock Society. We've been waiting. People have been saying Shido will play, no barou will play, but it's both the double jokers. I've literally prayed for times like this. We are witnessing history here, folks. The first time in a Blue Lock history, barou and Shido will share a pitch. It's been since August 2023 since barou last scored. And you just know whenever Shido's here, he's gonna score some devious goal too. So it looks like we have a fighting chance against this champion team. The chapter ends with Shido smiling, barou having a serious face, and the double jokers are finally in. We immediately start the chapter in the locker room, with the first half being over, everyone looking exhausted, and even though Gagamaru conceded 2 goals, somehow bro is sweating bullets. He's still my GOAT no matter what though, especially considering our other goalkeeper. But the second page shows us Aiku talking about the France team, saying he sees why they're #1 in the world. Aiku also individually compliments Hugo, calling him nuts, and Hugo has been glazed so much this game. Last chapter it was Isagi, now it's Aiku. Glaze will be tolerated though because Hugo has been putting up generational numbers. Bachara also jumps in to say that they're only ahead by 1. If they fix their strategy in the second half, they can still win. Ryo jumps in too, questioning this, saying how exactly are we gonna do that? And brings up how their attack patterns that start with Isagi are dead in the water. As per usual with Bachara, what Ryo said went in one ear and out of the other because bro just says, but we built this team centered around Isagi. Ryo's face just about says it all. He tells Bachara that's why they're failing, but Bachara just says, nah, we can still make something work. This rage baits Ryo, who says at this rate we're just gonna lose, and this whole interaction was just funny to me because Bachara is not even trying to rage bait bro, he just genuinely believes it can still work. While Ryo is saying that, Isagi is just in the back listening in, and we see him as speechless before Karasu jumps in telling them to chill out. He says that they can still make up new patterns like Hiyori's goal, so he'll be this team's second best instead of Isagi, telling them all, let's run with this strategy. So Karasu's still wanting to go with his plan of #2, exactly what him and Isagi were arguing about earlier, and why this whole civil war thing is starting. But that's when Ego appears and tells Karasu to watch what he says. And peep Karasu's face, he got the he's right behind me, isn't he look? This is what true fear looks like, y'all. And Ego's face is full of disgust after hearing Karasu cook up that strategy because he asks him if he's trying to kill Blue Lock. Both Karasu and Isagi look at Ego, and now we finally get his thoughts on the game after he was giving us the silent treatment for the first half. He starts off saying he'll give Karasu credit for his quick-witted change in play. But the problem lies in his mentality, because from the middle of the first half, his plays looked like he'd given up on his own goal, with Ego asking him what exactly was that about. We got the #1 bench warmer Kiora Jin watching this with front row seats, Raichi and Zantetsu making guest appearances too. I just know they're happy it wasn't them getting yelled at. Karasu then states he did what he did because he thought it would be better for the team. And that's when Ego pulls out the blacked out text box. And in manga terms, this is a telltale sign some devious dialogue is coming, because Ego tells Karasu, and I thought I told you, those who fight for the team are worthless trash. And yo, Ego looks like he's one breath away from locking off Karasu himself. He's not playing around. And Karasu is just fighting with his eyes, unable to say anything. Low-key, I feel like he should have explained himself better than just saying it's a best for the team. Karasu gotta love vague posting, because he did help score a goal, so his method obviously worked, and Isagi is currently ineffective, yet he brought up strictly the team. Like, bro should have just brought up those points first. The Ego yap session continues, with him finally addressing the elephant in the room of Hugo's philosophy. He says, in the first place, if every footballer tried to play in line with their suitability, it would just be a competition of physical abilities and tactics. He says that France is a multi-ethnic country with a broadly welcoming culture, so it produces a diversity of football techniques and making it easier for suitable talents for every position to be born. Ego then brings up a hypothetical, saying if France created an outstanding team by strictly selecting players based on suitable talents, do you think Japan has any chance of winning even if they do the same thing? And that's when he answers himself, saying a resounding no. He says, telling people to live suitably or to be happy with your position in life is how the strong get the weak to stop thinking and be able to control their possibilities. He then finishes it off saying, we are weak. If we live suitably, we could never change the world. And Unk still got it, man. I didn't doubt for a second. Ego once again speaking straight fire. I've seen a lot of Ego slander recently because he was kind of dunking on Karasu after he scored them the goal, and he kind of ran the same exact starting lineup against the #1 team, which, yeah, that was a little bit questionable. But what Ego is saying here really is the point of Blue Lock in the first place, to change Japanese football. He knows we ain't built for this football thing, so we gotta go out of the norm in order to succeed. Anyways, we'll save those thoughts for later because Ego continues on with his hands out and everything, saying that's precisely why he told them all to be strikers. This philosophy that goes beyond suitability is the heart of Blue Lock. And then he tells the team, imagine if they had 100 lives, how many times do you think they would become the world's #1 striker? He says if he were to make an incredibly optimistic and miraculously high evaluation, he would say only 1 time. So now bro's pulling out the Doctor Strange calculations, 14 million possibilities, how many do we win? 1? Ego tells them that an egoist lives for that 1 chance, and that never would have happened if they'd known their place. And once again, bro saying complete bars. Remember, y'all, this is literally the whole point of Blue Lock in the first place, get to the top or die trying. So what Ego is saying here aligns perfectly with this philosophy. After all that though, Karasu still brings up the fact that Ego can't deny that their current approach ain't working, which is also true. Two things can be true at the same time. I'm glad Karasu brought this up because it finally gives context for his play earlier, and even though I like Isagi, I can't deny we need to switch something up. It ain't working too well. And we already know Ego was planning to send in the double jokers, so he agrees with Karasu, saying, yeah, first you need to let go of something old if you want something new. Holding up the tablet, bro says he's dropping the tactics centered around Isagi Yoichi, and he will now announce the formation they'll use to fight back in the second half. Oh my god, y'all, it's finally happening. The jokers are finally coming. But an even bigger question is who is getting subbed, because let's be honest, almost every player besides Gagamaru and Aiku have a chance of getting replaced. But before we can answer that, we jump over to the France locker room where we get blinded by the bald coach, but he low-key got a fire beard, and for some reason he looks like the bald Kaiser meme. And a whole bunch of other BS is going on here because Hugo already back to reading his book with absolutely nothing on it, by the way. This performative man is doing it for the looks, bro following in Kaisenat's footsteps. But going back to the coach, his name is Rodin, and he tells them they are the strongest generation, God's once-in-a-century chosen ones. He continues on saying, you won't just change the history of France, but this incredible collection of talent will change all of football forever. He tells them some French word I'm not gonna bother pronouncing because I'm a butcher it, and finishes it off saying, let's go make history. The rest of the France players start getting hype, with Layden hitting the are you not entertained yet pose, Moist Critical making an appearance, and Gabin clapping it up. As the France players walk out, Loki calls out to Charles, telling him to give him more line-breaking passes this half. And oh no, bro, this is already not a good sign. Charles just says, wah-huh? And Charles always be saying the most random dialogue. That has me hella dead. But lock in, folks, because Loki tells Charles, if this ends without me scoring, the earth will be sad, right? Charles asks Loki if he's feeling frustrated and just says, okie dokie, he'll give him some nasty ones. So now Charles and Loki are finally teaming up, the whole reason why Loki went to the NEL in the first place, and now France is even stronger. Hugo then puts his arms around them, and hold up, look at this! Hugo is towering over them. With that wide frame, bro built like prime David laid? No wonder why Isagi was so scared. You got a giant on your back. Hugo tells Loki it's okay and that he doubts this match will end like this, saying it's about to get messy. The doors open to the pitch and Hugo says it seems BLUELOCK has chosen that destiny. As we see 3 silhouettes on the field as BLUELOCK subs are revealed to be Barou Shoei, Shido Ryusei, and Kunigami Rensuke. Oh my god, y'all. They are finally here. And Kunigami coming out of Timbuktu. Who would have expected bro to sub on? Shido and Barou on the pitch at the same time. I can't believe I am seeing this. 8 years of the manga, and this is the first time we've seen it. And they remembered Kunigami is a character in this manga. He actually exists. He was starting to look like the cheerleader for BLUELOCK, but now he's here. All 3 of them are just aura farming, with Shido smiling, saying his cells are screaming, Barou saying it's time to hun. I'ma be honest, Barou Shoei is the only character that can say that. If anyone else said it, they would be labeled as a cornball. And Kunigami hits the meanest stare down, saying, quit drooling, you beasts. As the zesty demon, the lion, and the broken hero have entered the pitch. But for every player you bring in, someone gotta go out. Next page shows us Bachara, Nico, and Chigiri are the players that are out. Bachara slumped over, disconnected like an AirPod, says they've been dismissed. Nico just says no use crying about it, and Chigiri hypes up Kunigami from the side. Now, honestly, Bachara and Chigiri getting subbed makes sense. Bachara was getting locked up, and I just knew he had too much screen time in Nigeria, so it meant we were gonna be in a Bachara drought after. Chigiri, he couldn't even beat the France defender, but that means we won't be getting the full Loki versus Chigiri matchup, which is kind of sad to me. In Nico's case, though, I swear bro just caught a stray because he helped intercept Hugo's pass, yet he still got subbed out. We see the full formation with Rin up top, Barou and Shido on the wings, Isagi back at cam, and Kunigami back down there as well. Oh brother, there is a lot to debunk here. Firstly, Isagi is about to get the Cam Sagi slander again. This formation is absolutely bonkers, and Kunigami, I guess, will never be a striker. Jumping back to it though, we see Isagi comment how this is an all-out offense formation, and not even mad that the strategy around him is completely obliterated, because he has another goal in mind, and of course, that's Hugo. He talks about how he's more talented, has a bigger dream, and that this is the worst possible situation. Hugo just hits him with a side eye. We can already expect more number 2 talk coming from him soon. Isagi hits the my mom's kind of homeless face and questions why he feels excited. He says the words surpass Hugo. That's what his ego is screaming as the second half kicks off. Y'all, the second half is really where this game is about to begin. So much hype can happen in the next few chapters. We see Isagi's aura eyes appear, Hugo's aura eyes appear too, with his new eye showing up as well, as the chapter ends off there. The chapter starts with the announcers hyping up Japan versus France entering the second half, calling it a non-stop intensity. You know the game is hype for the commentators as well, because Natsuki is fist bumping in the air screaming go. Bro turned into Roderick. We're down a point going into the second half, and they got this big screen to remind us as we see the second half kick off. Rin starts making his way up. Isagi starting with the ball, passes it back to Karasu of all people. So I guess the beef is squashed. Ego really the mediator, because just a few minutes ago, they were about to box. Hugo and Loki are standing at the front lines, but immediately Karasu hits a pass. Mind you, this is the second page, so we going straight into the action. There was no buildup or anything, but running towards the pass, it's none other than Shido Ryusei. The zesty demon is finally here. 1 second, and bro already speaking music notes. The ball lands on him, but he blocks Chappa, damn near hitting him with the same move from Fire Force. BLUELOCK is moving quick for the second half because Shido immediately sends the ball away again. But pay attention to the corner, folks. Mikage Ryo is here. And again, we instantly see another pass before Layden can block him. Got bro staring at a ball that's already gone. I'm messing with the instant passes because the first half we kept the ball too long and couldn't get past the defenders. So this plan is doing wonders for us. Ryo's pass is headed straight towards Karasu, who has 2 people on him. But before bro can get jumped, Karasu receives the pass, weaving not one, but two of the players, which got them absolutely perplexed. Man's right here looks like he's seen a ghost, and bro in the front trying to get an arm on bro. His face telling me he was trying to resort to violence. I gotta give some applause though. Karasu was clean as hell. Even if you don't agree with bro because of the first half, you gotta give him some credit. Bro's putting up some numbers. He then says, this half we're striking back, and this is the energy we need. I know we're going against the Avengers team of Loki, Hugo, and Charles, but it's good they got hope. Speaking of which, all three players, Loki, Hugo, and Charles appear, with Charles saying interesting and Loki pointing out that they changed their entire strategy. Hugo agrees, saying, yeah, a complete change from before, and I'm gonna be honest, as much as I want to see BLUELOCK and their subs for the second half, I want to see what Hugo is gonna do or how he's gonna react to the subs. Because there has been one too many memes of barou reacting to what Hugo has to say, and it's literally so true. But jumping back to it, we see Karasu's crow soaring over the field, and yo! Karasu really got motion. First, the fit upgrade was immaculate, and now they got his crow flying around like it's the Infinity Castle. He really pulled out the hand signal like Megumi. Anyways, Karasu hits a pass to Ryo, and Ryo immediately hits it towards Shido, who is all smiles and sunshines, while Hugo commentates that they've started a triangle passing pattern with Karasu as the crux. Charles pulls up in front of Shido, which he's been waiting for this entire game, but Shido dodges the fade by passing to his side yet again and screaming out, die, sending it over to Hiyori. There was no reason for bro to say that, but I just want to point out, Shido playing with the team is kind of an odd sight to see. By no means am I saying it's bad, but it's kind of just weird seeing it. It's like those things you're not used to after it changes. But with Hiyori having the ball, he activates Metavision and says, let's move BLUELOCK, as we see Karasu, Ryo, Shido, all with whited out eyes, which is a telltale sign it's about to go down. And the hype levels continue. Charles, mad confused, just says, what, They're all rushing in, and this got Renoir stressing. Mans is fully extending his arm trying to stop this attack himself, as he makes the realization of that's it, Karasu's not just their crux. But together with Hiyori, it's a double game maker system, as Hiyori hits another pass straight to Karasu with all the ice shards breaking off. Hiyori then starts inner monologuing on how Karasu's moving the ball up and he's the one changing the pace. As they're attacking up front with their combined ideas, Karasu is staring at the ball going towards him, but slams the brakes, making Camus stuck in place. But this was all according to plan, because the ball actually went to Isagi Yoichi, with Hiyori finishing his sentence and saying that leaves Isagi free behind them. And oh boy, come on Isagi, this is your time to shine. Do not fumble once again. Otherwise, it's gonna be harder and harder to defend you, dog. We see the puzzle pieces start flying off Isagi as his Metavision is activated too, and he compliments Karasu on the through ball. Which again, just a second ago, they were about to box, so it's surprising to see them work together. But sliding in front of Isagi is the god sprinter himself, who says, I expected that much. And just look at the form here. Bro landing on one foot. And why he looked like he about to kick the life out of Isagi. Isagi's Metavision eyes gain an aura though, as he summons a Maharaga, calling up on big bro Itoshi Rin to take the fight instead. Nah, I'm just joking. They're doing a 1-2 play as Isagi taunts Loki, asking him, how about this? It's always fire to see Rin and Isagi working together, and Rin is straight gritting his teeth, saying here comes a surprise combo. Loki starts darting off to Itoshi Rin, and Isagi cuts in to get the ball back, effectively weaving Loki with egoist 1-2 passes, which I can't deny that's a fire name. However, Loki just says too slow, you're within my range, and bro zooms on towards Isagi at Mach 10 speed. Isagi ain't even take one step before Loki's already got his arms around him, which what the hell, bro? Yeah, maybe we do need Sendo to snipe his legs. He hits Loki with a side eye with a very obvious frustrated look, but the puzzle pieces continue to flow because there is one more backup plan. Isagi grits his teeth, and now for one more surprise connection as a barou Shoei runs in towards the ball Isagi passed. And oh my god, it's genuinely been years since we last seen barou touch the ball, which is crazy to think about. We even see his beautiful lightning aura or whatever while he's sprinting down, and we are in the year 2026 and seeing a barou and Isagi play together. When was the last time we seen this combo? One time in the U20 and the other in the second selection? Yeah, I bet I made every single one of us feel old, including myself. Isagi says, come on, the hungry lion, as Barou just says, it's time to get nasty. Again, if anyone but Barou Shoei said this dialogue, we would all think it's corny. He looks straight ahead as two of the France defenders are in front of him, as well as the goal in front of him too. But we will have to continue this later because the chapter ends off there. The chapter starts off right where we left off, with Barou having the ball as he pulls off his signature chop dribbles, weaving one defender and then weaving another defender. We then get some Barou dialogue on how he needs to devour this path to kingship Isagi created with one singular strike. And that's the Barou we know and love. To break it down for y'all, Barou is basically saying since Isagi gave him the ball, he wants to devour that route because, you know, Barou can't like a single thing if it's related to Isagi. We then see him immediately in a shooting motion, and dog, we are still on the first page of this chapter. Bro ain't wasting any time. And as he winds up his kick, Hugo slides in out of nowhere to stop Barou's shot, just nonchalantly saying a close one. And nah, why did I just know Hugo was gonna come out of nowhere? We didn't see him the last half of the chapter for a reason, and then bro randomly teleported to the right place and right time. He's been doing this the whole match too. Hugo is literally getting insane feats from a few chapters. You really never know what could happen when Hugo is around. 1 second you're getting ready for a shot, and then he teleports, snatching the ball away. And I know the Barou haters are rubbing their bellies laughing, but to his defense, it's been one chapter, bro had one attempt, and he had to go against the server admin that is Hugo. But we see Barou absolutely bamboozled, just saying what? And look at my man's eyes. We might actually get those Barou Hugo fan art panels because he is beyond mad. He's gonna air out the field. Hugo then hits this Spider-Man pose and then starts dropping a dialogue basically exposing the BLUELOCK team. He breaks it down for us, saying how the primary offensive formation is centered around Karasu, but behind the scenes, Isagi and other players that can link up with him are really the ones shaking things up, commenting that their offensive powers really ramped up. Yeah, this is not even fair at this point. It's been like 1 minute, and Hugo already figured out BLUELOCK's whole plan. He gotta have bugged the locker room. That's the only way. And in the next page, Hugo debuts new eyes. What is even going on? They keep giving bro everything. Now he got some stars in his eyes, got him looking like I from Oshinoko. All while this is happening, Hugo says, well then, shall we go for it on our end too? Which is the scariest thing he said in this match. They even put it in a blacked out text box. We see Loki start running, Charles just speaking in a smiling imp emoji, and Rayo is shouting out that this is bad. The vertical pass counter, telling them to stay alert for Loki and Charles specifically. As Hugo winds up his pass as well, a bunch of gear cogs are coming in towards him, and he sends it flying past Rayo and over to Layden. Now you might be wondering, who is this? This ain't Charles or Loki, but this NPC is locked in. Just look at that damn smile. Isagi is finally here too, shocked yet again, and he calls out that they're sending the pass to the wing. Layden then says, don't go thinking Loki's the only striker here, as the France NPC gaps Isagi, leaving bro looking at an after image of him. And I genuinely don't even have words. Like, I know this will just add more and more to his slander, which it gets to a point, bro, I don't even know if I could try defending you, dog. To be fair, Layden was saucing up Chigiri, so the France NPCs are just built different, even though they're not getting all the spotlight. Isagi grits his teeth and starts to realize the situation they're in is bad. He points out they saw right through the fact that their defense is gathered in the center towards Loki and Charles, so from the weaker side, they made it a speed battle. And this is when we jump over to Henri, who can't believe France adapted that quickly, saying they adjusted to their tactical change and are already defending against it, pointing out that they even shifted into an attacking formation to exploit their weak spot. Hugo then says if BLUELOCK desires an ultra-offensive style, Ego also says it seems like they're going for an ultra-offensive style as well. Basically, a monkey see, a monkey do fight for the second half. And in the next page, we see a damn robot on the field, winding up a whole punch as a lion and crow are jumping towards it. Oh my god, they genuinely cooked with this panel. I don't even know what's going on at this point. First, it was a mammoth, now we got Rudy from Invincible. What's next? Fish and chips for the England match? Crazy part is that that's not even unrealistic. Now, I'm not entirely sure what a crow would do against Optimus Prime right here, but this is symbolism for the no-guard slugfest that's happening on the field right now, which Hugo points out. On the field itself, we see Layden skedaddling over to Ryu, who hits his defensive stance, with Henri amazed at the world's #1 France, Rodin, the France coach, saying to stab them or pierce through, and Layden saying a bam. Then we see Layden send the ball flying with Ryu unable to block it, and take a gander at his face. Ryu looks like he's seen a ghost. He calculated 10 different plays, and this was not one of them. Not a glamorous look, Ryu, I won't lie. And as the ball is in the air, Gagamaru calls out that it's a shot-like pass, but then makes the realization that it's on a trajectory that will go into the goal unless he touches it. But that's when Loki hits this super jump, getting insane airtime. Aiku couldn't stop him in time. Karasu got the "we're cooked" face, and peep Loki, bro, is hitting the fattest grin of all time. Nah, this might be one of the best close-ups I've seen in this manga. A mid-jump and devious smile like he just won the lottery. Gagamaru talks about how he has no choice but to come out, but since he got tricked with a pass to Loki, our GOAT then starts to sweat, saying they got him, with a look of pure fear in his face. And as Loki is about to get to the ball though, all hope seemingly lost, Kunigami flies in to stop it, headering the ball away before Loki can get it. And oh my god, genuine tears, bro. Kunigami making a grand return, saving us like the hero he once was. Actually poetic. Just look at the height bro reached as well. That wildcard training for real paid off. Even Gagamaru in the back can't believe his eyes. Yet again, Loki has fumbled the bag. Now, I've been saying since the start that we have to wait for Loki to lock in, but it gets to a point, man. Everyone's calling bro a fraud now because he was hyped up to put on a masterclass, yet he hasn't done anything in like the 50th minute. I might be the only person still holding out hope for bro. We still got like 7 chapters left, and we've seen what he can do. There is no way he doesn't score. I don't believe it. Anyways, the ball is going to yonder, but it's not confirmed whether it went out or not. I'm gonna assume one of the Blue Lock players can pick it up. Karasu, Aiku, Hiyori, and Shido were here, so potentially one of these 4 get it. But Kunigami drops the final line as he says, "If it's a slugfest you want, then count me in," as the chapter ends off there. The chapter starts with Kunigami's letter from his U20 training, and we see a flashback of bro pulling out some martial arts straight out of Real Steel. If you got that reference, you know ball. The letter tells Kunigami how the answer lies in battle. Become the ultimate physical combat warrior. We see him throw a jab in there with the trainer blocking it. So now we're finally getting some much needed Kunigami development. It ain't the wild card, which at this point I've kind of gave up hope on getting, but it's still something, especially considering a bro was damn near forgotten during the NEL. So I know the Kunigami fans got tears in their eyes with this sliver of development. Anyways, while we see the flashback, Ego dialogues on how the special training he assigned to Kunigami is the sense of distance or spacing in offense and defensive maneuvers found in mixed martial arts. We see he is talking to Henri, but everyone in the back low-key eavesdropping too. Ego continues saying that the thorough physical condition required to not be easily knocked down during physical combat, those 2 skills are obviously useful as a striker, but they also become a versatile weapon in any position. Henri then connects the dots and realizes that that's why Ego subbed in Kunigami as a defensive midfielder from the second half. Which, okay, I guess this is a reasoning for why he's there. Ego says that this is correct, and when they utilize Shido and Barou simultaneously, they are prone to being hit by counters due to the attack-heavy formation. So that's why, for this match, Kunigami will put his body on the line and become the shield for any counterattack. All the while this is happening, the ball is still in the air going over Shido, Charles, and Camus. Now again, Defender Kunigami ain't my favorite. He's okay, he's done good, I won't deny that. But remember, he was brought back as the supposed best striker, which was a straight lie. But it sounds like they're trying to justify it by saying he's flexible and we need his physique, so I guess everything is okay. I don't know if it's just me though. It still kind of feels wrong. Anyways, Ego says to Kunigami that he needs him to become a defensive tank, as bro hits this Spider-Man pose after blocking Loki, and the crowd goes wild cheering for him. Even the Huz in the back all happy. They're hyped up screaming Kunigami's name, saying a nice defense, but if we're being for real, Kunigami would be ignoring the fans because he's too cool for that. The ball from earlier though lands with Ryu chest trapping it, and finally bro's redeeming himself from earlier using his height, getting the ball before Layden. He then looks to the side and says he'll connect it, with the commentators start getting hyped saying here we go. Offense and defensive roles have reversed. It's a lightning fast counterattack from BLUELOCK Japan. We then jump straight over to Isagi Yoichi running forward, thinking that Ego's tactic is working. In the meantime, Ryu gave the ball to Hiyori, and Isagi activates Metavision and starts dialoguing. He talks about how the core of their attacks is still Karasu, and from behind that organization, he must focus on movements that strike at the opponent's blind spot. As we see the main system with Karasu and subsystem with Isagi, this is the two-sided strategy for a second half counter. And in the next page, we see BLUELOCK continuing to move up, with Hiyori hitting a pass to Ryo, and the France players trying to keep up with them. All while this is happening, Isagi is talking about how we're fighting back against France better than we did in the first half. And Isagi, bro, who is we? Bro hasn't done much this second half, besides pass the ball to barou, and in the first half, don't get me started. He shot a brick like a nerd going for a 10 out of 10, and then got dominated by Hugo. Don't get me wrong, I'm trusting in the process you'll make a comeback this half, but don't let the Isagi haters hear you're saying this, bro. They will not let you rest if you say we again. Anyways, Isagi is saying the opponents are definitely starting to hate their new formation, but there is just one thing that's still bugging him, and that's when Hugo appears. But not in front of Isagi. He hits him with the hello, I won't let you get away to Mikage Ryo. Ryo ticked off, just says he's seeing the field well, Lashy boy, and low-key Ryo fried him here. Even though it was a bit corny, he's damn accurate with this nickname. Hugo for sure got some lash serum and eyelash curlers for lashes like those. Isagi continues to move upfield, with him saying what's bothering him is the fact that he can't imagine a scenario where we win against Hugo. Which this gotta be the ultimate glaze. This is Gojo levels of glaze. Like, Loki ain't even a threat anymore. It's just Hugo. He talks about how if he became the team's number 2 and focused completely on the playmaking role, the attack would be easier to carry out. But he'd just be doing what Hugo described and trying to be suitable for the sake of victory. And that's not the role Ego wants for him. As we get a close-up of his Metavision, the puzzle pieces start to fly everywhere. Isagi says if he is going to live as the world's best striker, he'll find a new logic or theory to defeat Hugo with his own goal. And yes, sir, that's what we like to hear, Isagi. The puzzle pieces everywhere, the Metavision activated. Maybe this is the return of Prime Isagi. We needed this. All of a sudden, though, barou pulls up on Isagi's side and then proceeds to start trash-talking bro per usual, telling him he's different than usual, you scrub. He can't smell the scent of a goal coming from him at all. This takes Isagi off guard, and that's when barou tells him Ego's plan was originally for barou to use Isagi's movement to aim for the goal. But he's done with that. Isagi is useless. In this match, he is not the king. And oh my god, low-key, I miss this so much. Firstly, barou pulling out that harsh motivation, backhand complimenting Isagi, saying he's different than usual. Then him saying Isagi is useless, and pulling a Nick A30 and saying you're not the king, which got Isagi speechless. And he is just shocked at barou, saying he noticed it intuitively, the vulnerability in his own vision or future. And that's when we see barou start running down the field with his lightning aura, saying it's a prey change. The opponent he is going to devour is too wild to search for. You can just feel the aura coming through the screen. Barou is always living up to the hype, and maybe this even gives Isagi a clue on what to do next. But before we see any more, a crow is soaring over the field, and we jump over to Karasu, who's now getting his inner dialogue, saying that Isagi and him are alike, having nearly the same football IQ, a kindred spirit who came to BLUELOCK carrying the same anxieties. He also originally was a person who felt the gap of that dissonance. We see a flashback of Karasu outside of BLUELOCK where he continues saying that gap between his true desire to live as a striker and the role the team needed him to play. He says what he wants to do versus what he can do are different. He understands that very well himself. His characteristics are keeping the ball in the midfield, maintaining balance, and building up the attack, which makes him suited to be a midfielder. And straight away, this is some beautiful development from Karasu's perspective. Maybe even relatable to some people in how what we want to achieve versus what's actually possible may be different, and deciding between that is hard. He says, even so, if I couldn't fulfill my dream of becoming a striker, he's fought his way here thinking that he wanted to survive in BLUELOCK. And that's when we see in the next page Karasu dialoguing on how little by little the gap between him and Isagi was widening. Before he knew it, Isagi was a striker at the very center of it all. We see a magnificent parallel of Karasu in the back saying he's been thinking about it all this time. What is it that Isagi has that he doesn't? If he kept clinging on to BLUELOCK, will the moment ever come where he sees the light of day? It's frustrating, but he was buried in Isagi's shadow. And I'm getting some deja vu from Yuki Miya. This feels like a "it should have been me, not him" dialogue. Karasu continues saying he's grateful to Ego for bringing him to such a stage, but is Ego's philosophy really what he needs right now? That's what he kept thinking. Getting a flashback of Hugo talking about being the second best, BLUELOCK can become stronger too, he says that that's exactly why Hugo's words pierced right through him, with his Metavision eyes activating too. He tells Ryo to pass it over to him, and he says a BLUELOCK where Isagi is a #1 has reached its limit. With Ryo stopping Hugo and sending the ball over to Karasu, which is low-key crazy, props to you, Ryo. And that's when Karasu says, in that case, with him as the #2, he will make a BLUELOCK reborn. So the decision is finally made. Karasu is going as the #2 for this match. Hugo even gives some kudos to Karasu, saying as he thought, he's good. And Karasu says he doesn't think this way of fighting is the final answer to everything, but for now, this is a choice for a future where he gives up on becoming #1 as he rushes forward with the ball. Now, I'm gonna be honest, Karasu is saying that this isn't the final answer, but after that whole speech from Ego in the locker room, Karasu's still chasing after the #2, which it's up to you to decide whether it's a good decision or not, but I just know Ego is gonna have a long talk with Karasu after this match. I have a feeling we ain't ever seeing bro on the pitch again. Ego for sure about to bench him after this stun. However, as Karasu moves forward, Aiku says it was a nice setup, Barou tells him to pass it, and Hiyori says let's go. And even more importantly, Karasu's crow aura starts crawling up him like a damn symbiote. And he says if he can create a goal here, he can be Isagi. He can flip everything on its head. As Bro sends the ball flying past another 2 defenders, and he says BLUELOCK will become Karasu Tabito's team. And yo! Karasu on some crazy timing here. Like Pete Bro right here. All he can do is turn his head around. I know his neck is broken. And the ball even flies past Charles, with Isagi just staring at it too, saying it was a vertical pass with exquisite timing, wondering who the ball was sent to. And Karasu, with his flow state eyes activated, says it's you, the only one who is incomprehensible and impossible to handle, as the next page reveals Shido Ryusei has the ball. Sound the alarms, y'all. The Zesty Demon now has the ball. I know the Shido fans have tears in their eyes as well. Everyone's crying this chapter because the demon is Karasu's trump card. Y'all gotta remember, Shido is the personification of a crash out. One look at bro and he got veins popping out of his head for no reason at all, a devious smile, and bro damn near looking at us through the screen. He's really living up to that Zesty Demon name too, because not even 1 second of screen time and bro already saying the most. Shido says my egoism is ready to burst, and what exactly does he mean by that? As the chapter ends off with the demon getting ready for his attack. The chapter picks up with a demon aura on the field, not even 1 second in, and we already summoning demons, bro. What is going on? We see Karasu smiling after his pass to Shido, Isagi looking forward as well, as he calls out that Karasu is using Shido as his main weapon. 2 France players are standing in front of Shido as he says, here we go, his cells are popping, making a freaky face. We see Charles in the next page running alongside Isagi, and bro is kicking his feet in the air, laughing that Shido is here. Isagi hits my man with the side eye, and Charles smiles, recalling how it's just like the Neo Egoist League. He knows since he was on the same team as Shido that he wants a combination with Karasu. We see a little flashback of the PXG roster with Shido running in towards Moist Critical and Camus also pulling up for the 1v2. But before they can jump him, Shido weaves Moist Critical, blocking him with one hand and hopping over his foot, getting to the ball before Camus could while holding him back. And Shido feats that aren't just shots. I've waited for times like these. This is a generational moment. Somehow his skydive training paid off here. We then get some dialogue from Karasu who says before Hugo comes, they'll finish this with a fast break. Honestly, what I'm hearing here is that Hugo is hitting the Hall of Fame ranks, because Karasu did not even mention Loki here. Only the fact that they need to get it up before Hugo specifically. And that goes for about this whole game, because I can speak for everyone when we say we're disappointed with Loki. I'm not hopping on the Loki hate train because we still have a lot of the game left to go, and we've seen what he can do, but up until this point, it's just a fact that he hasn't done much. Anyways, Karasu continues saying, according to his analysis, no matter where Shido is, he is someone that stays true to himself. He is a living creature of strength and fear. If you look at it positively, he's a genius at expressing himself. So in a nutshell, all I'm hearing is a bunch of glaze. I know the Shido fans can relate to this analysis though, but to balance out the glaze, he says if you view it negatively, he is an existence that radiates such indiscriminate energy that the people around him can't help but be influenced by it. We see Shido holding back Camus with his demon aura popping out again as he passes it to Hiryo while Rin and Hugo are running alongside each other. And finally, that's where Rin is. I was looking everywhere in the last chapters for bro, and Rin was nowhere to be seen. But now he's finally making an appearance, albeit a small panel. Karasu this whole time is saying you either have to change yourself to match Shido, or you oppose him. There is no other way to communicate with him, as Shido smiles too. Isagi in the next page is now giving us his inner thoughts, with him saying he sees. Thinking back on it, he's never been able to create a chemical reaction with Shido, and then asking himself if it's because he adapts too much to the opponent. He answers himself saying no, it's because he's definitely trying to devour the opponent to go for the goal himself. But the way Karasu plays is different from him. No matter who his opponent is, Karasu can always keep an easy to manage distance from them. He can move in close or pull away. He's an independent and a balanced player compared to him. All while Isagi is saying this, Hiyori hits another pass with Karasu chest trapping it, and Isagi wrapping up his yap session saying the unique mentality of not being swayed by Shido's influence pierces through at this stage. If you can't tell, this is a yap heavy chapter because Karasu jumps in saying that understanding Shido's demands and imagery is only something he can pull off because he's more cold and detached than anyone else. So Karasu giving himself a pat on the back, self-glazing by saying he's the only one that can understand Shido, but he makes a comment saying it's not like he wants to play like this though. Shido is hitting the dash past Gaban, who says, oh crap, a fast-paced run from the blind spot. And I never understood this, like bro's calling out that Shido's coming in from behind, yet feels like it's more important to announce it to the world first. Like, do something about it, man. This is the same energy as people who record instead of helping. Anyways, we see Karasu activate his Metavision eyes with him saying using Shido as a piece, Karasu will win against Isagi and make a winning path for a change in power as he sends it flying towards Shido. And there is a lot to unpack here, y'all. First of all, Karasu really going for the Isagi takeover. He's really out here trying to be the big dog, and it's low-key working? Now the ball is headed towards the demon as well, who says all that's left is to shoot it in. A simple little job. But whenever something is said to be easy, we know it's the exact opposite. As a Julian Loki comes out of nowhere to block Shido, activating Instinct Eyes as well. And oh nah, Shido got hit with the "he's right behind me, isn't he?" look. Loki takes some time to tell Shido he knows all about his abnormality, because after all, he is his former master, using his hand to block Shido. This takes Shido off guard, and Karasu reaches Kuso levels of shocked as he can't believe that Loki caught up in time. But Shido is different because he sees this and just smiles, acknowledging that he's so goddamn fast. But it's not over yet because the ball is still in the air, and it's truly a 50-50 split-second dead heat. Loki looks up at the ball, Shido is just yelling, and both of their eyes are glued to it as they realize whoever touches the ball first wins. So it's all up for grabs. Will Loki finally do something and get the ball first, or will Shido reach it before him? With the answer being none of them, as a barou Shoei steals the ball instead by goddamn flying to it first, as his lion aura comes out munching on Karasu's crow like it's good eats. I will say, Barou damn knows how to make a good entrance. Shido is gritting his teeth, and Loki, what are you staring at, bro? Get your head in the game, gang! Bro is staring at the grass pitch. Barou then drops some straight fire, saying, "It's you, you total cell explosive bastard," as his predator eye activates too. The lion is hungry and waited for his time to strike. Shido, confused, just says, "Huh?" as this is pretty much their first interaction on the pitch together, which I'm a happy camper seeing. And Barou says, "You're the one taking Isagi's place." We see his foot plant, and he shoots for it immediately, saying the new king of BLUELOCK is him. As Loki is wide eyes open, and same with Shido, none of them were expecting this. Isagi is watching too, as he just says Barou's name. The goalkeeper reaches for it, but we see it in the back of the net. Barou Shoei has scored the second goal for BLUELOCK. He jumps into the air, spreading his arms, and yells into the crowd. Everyone hyped in the background too. The commentators say he's hunted it down. Barou Shoei with the super goal. And this reaction is all of us. We got our hands up celebrating Barou. This just puts a smile on my face, man. 3 years. It's been 3 years since Barou's last goal. This is just peak cinema. But I will say, the last chapter with Barou looking for a new target kind of gave us a clue on him being the one scoring. I even said this myself last video, not to toot my own horn, but still an unexpected goal regardless to bring us back to a tied score, and now we see the reactions, as the commentators break it down, saying it was a lightning-fast counter from an interception of Shido's pass. The signal of the counter-attack comes from this man, Barou. While all the cheering and celebration is going on, though, Isagi is just standing there, not showing 1 ounce of happiness, as he starts to break down the goal. He first addresses how Barou cut him off because he was useless to him, and he took Karasu's Shido-centered strategy and replaced it by devouring Shido. Shido then gives his reaction to the goal, angrily smiling at Barou with veins popping, saying that he's impressive, but pretty much calls him a hyena for stealing his goal. I know every Shido fan mad as hell too that Barou scored instead, but Barou just says if he's so frustrated, then try devouring him back and score a goal himself. So Barou standing on business. I mess with it. Isagi continues dialoguing over both of them though, saying the double jokers, they handed themselves over to him. BLUELOCK's new ruler is Karasu, and Isagi just gave Karasu the biggest aura lob in history because he smiles and tells them to keep going, double jokers. He'll pull the strings for the leading actors. In his mind, Isagi ponders on a question. Could it be that the team is stronger than the one where he is number 1? Is his place here disappearing? Oh, brother, I can already feel the slander coming like a 5th sense. The Isagi haters are rubbing their bellies laughing hearing him saying this. This feels a lot like when Kaiser got the bastard team overtaken by Isagi, and I'm wondering if this is a direct parallel to that too, because we see Karasu looking back at Isagi just like he did. And this panel is tough as hell. The double jokers facing forward as Karasu looks back at Isagi with his feathers replacing the BLUELOCK symbol. We see the Fitz gang. They just aura farming out here. But we switch scenes all of a sudden to the France bench, where we see Roden calling out to Hugo and Loki to come here. And this feels like when your name gets called to the front office. He tells them if they lose in a place like this, do they really think they can win the World Cup? And is Roden about to box Hugo and Loki? Why he cracking his fingers? I'm hella dead. He about to give them a lesson in another way. And we get one of the funniest Hugo dialogues with a chibi version of him just pointing at Loki and saying, nah, I don't think so. It's because Loki doesn't finish his goals when he's supposed to. So even Hugo is calling out Loki for not performing. He really speaking for the community. First for the Isagi haters and now for the Loki haters. He is one of us. His bottle cap even looks like he's smiling too. And this whole shenanigans pisses off Loki, calling Hugo the annoying one, blaming his passes instead. Anything but accountability, bruh. I genuinely don't think one of Hugo's passes were that bad. In fact, his first pass was literally an assist to Charles. Loki is agitated at Hugo, and Hugo just rage baiting, bro, hitting the flight react, sticking out his tongue. And the coach tells them it's time for a formation change, demanding them to be more bold and aggressive. He tells them both to show him their talent, and Loki says, yes, coach, you don't even need to say it. So it might be time to see a locked-in Loki, y'all. Hugo says, gotcha, and the bottom of the page says Vivian Hugo knows, which if you didn't know, this was revealed to be his full name. And as the game restarts, Loki passes the ball to Hugo, but continuing with what Hugo knows, he dialogues that in the same era, same country, the fact that he was able to meet Julian Loki, this is destiny. He just knows it. And we get a huge reveal of a flashback, seeing a younger Hugo and Loki. So next chapter, we're diving into the number 1 and 2 of France, but that means that this chapter ends off there. The chapter picks up with a flashback from 2 years ago at the France Under-18 training center, with Hugo sitting down on the field talking to 2 players. Hugo is talking about a strategy, pulling out some numbers, that if you break past the defense at a speed of 32 kilometers an hour, and if a pass is sent at a speed of 8.3 meters a second or more, this happens, then this happens, and then this happens. So Hugo's always been a yapper even 2 years ago, and bro has a whole board showing this strategy, moving the players around. I don't even know where he pulled these numbers from before too. And he had the audacity to ask if they understand. And we see he's talking to a younger Gabon, one of the defenders for France, and a Belson from Clarence. I don't really know. He just got a boot on his nose and we're not even told his name. Gabon comments on Hugo's strat saying no way, it's impossible, questioning whether he thinks that much while playing football. With the other NPC, the one who can smell colors, asking if it's a calculation or instinct, calling him a crazy. Hugo just says, isn't this normal for everyone? No, Hugo, this is not normal for everyone. And Gabon and the NPC just start bursting out laughing hearing this. They say he's the one that's not normal, calling him a football freak, and ask if he can repeat it again. But Hugo's face still has zero emotion, saying he sees they don't get it. And low-key, I can kind of sympathize for Hugo here. Just look at that expression on his face. You can tell he feels isolated in the way he thinks. But at the same time, I'll still slander and make fun of him because one page over and he's back with the blank book. This performative man, bro, I can't. I get there was genuinely a reasoning for this, and nah, I reject that reasoning. This is purely for looks, man. He could have picked up meditating if he really wanted to collect his thoughts. Anyways, the text says that Hugo is waiting for destiny. To win the World Cup 4 times, he is pursuing the aptitude within himself. He starts thinking of the steps to do that. First starting with the environment, then the manager or coach, and then the team. A relationship of trust where he can live as the number 2, with the last requirement being a world-class striker, as we see a depiction of Noel Noah. But Hugo at the age of 17 says Noel Noah is almost 30 years old. If we won together, we could do it only once or twice. And who does Hugo think he is? Honestly, I respect it, bro. Big talks at 17 saying he's gonna play alongside Noel Noah and pretty much calling him Unk. It makes sense too, considering his goal of winning 4 World Cups is a long one, and we see him confirm the fact that a new number 1 is necessary. But the narrator continues for his backstory, saying that Vivian Hugo pushes forward. The people necessary for your own dream must be refined because there is a need for it. as we see him watching over other France players. Hugo then appears to be talking to someone, saying no, he's 0.5 seconds too slow, then saying he can't become the world's best like that. Does he understand? And oh nah, if I'm Hugo's teammate, I would be sick of this guy. I get Hugo's low-key one of the best players we've seen so far, but I'd be crashing out if I was on the same team. Because imagine someone pulling out some random fairy dust numbers on your speed and then saying, do you understand? You won't become the world's best. Hugo is actually up there with the best rage baiters in the BLUELOCK verse. And we see the most justifiable crash out as one of his teammates, Gabriel, tells Hugo he's not his damn tool, grabbing him by the collar. Hugo just stands there with no reaction at all. Rage bait was successful. Gabriel continues to say he doesn't give a damn about his aptitude talk, proclaiming that he's the striker here. You human consultant narcissist bastard. Damn! The diss is coming out from both sides. This is the BLUELOCK I know and love, man. This is what I live for. And Hugo immediately claps back, saying sorry he overestimated him. His aptitude is of a mediocre striker ranked 130th in the world. The rage bait was so good, Gabriel got veins popping from his head, and he results to violence, charging up a strong right, getting ready to punch Hugo. But there is a narrator saying that Vivian Hugo knows that creatures known as strikers are without exception egoists. And at that very moment, Gabriel is about to slime Hugo out. Loki comes in last second, slapping his hand away, but Hugo low-key weaved that too. I have to say, Gabriel was about 1 second away from saving Japan, because without Hugo, I think this game would have went way better for us. And now it's all up to Kunigami to finish the job. He was training for a reason. But jumping back into it now, Loki tells that Gabriel guy that isn't it just because he doesn't have the talent. Gabriel just says, huh, and Hugo's attention goes towards him as Loki asks the coach if he can swap every player out. The coach is then shown introducing Loki to the team, which is crazy to think about. The second he pulled up, he said, let's switch everyone out. Loki is then bowing, saying sorry for earlier, and then stands tall, saying he plans on winning the World Cup multiple times while he's still alive, and that those who can't keep up, please just step down. Nice to meet them all, which is one hell of an introduction, with the other France players commenting on it too. But this all grabs the attention of Hugo, who says, what is this arrogant, brave, and irrational existence? So now I see why Hugo is such a Loki glazer. Bro came in like a knight in shining armor to save him, and then on top of that, aligned exactly with his dreams and what he was saying. It cuts over to Hugo's eyes on Loki, where he says, finally, a true #1 life form. And then it jumps to another conversation with Loki stating that the world is a cruel place, isn't it? As he sits back to back with Hugo, he pretty much says what Hugo's been saying throughout the France game. Those without talent will never win against those who have it. Hugo is bouncing a ball on his head while agreeing with Loki and says, in the end, talent is a destiny that can never be understood by those who don't have it. He then tells Loki that his goal is to win the World Cup 4 times, and Loki just stares at him and bursts out laughing too. Loki asks, what was that just now, saying that's wild, and if he's actually being serious while saying that. Hugo, with still zero emotions, just says, yeah, he's dead serious, and Loki just laughs, saying he's never met anyone like this before. Someone who dreams as arrogantly as he does. As the flashback ends and the game restarts. And that flashback transition into the game restart was absolutely fire, but let's jump back into the game. What everyone's been waiting for, we see Loki start to move backwards and Hugo taking the ball upfield. Isagi is just as bamboozled, even having an exclamation point question mark, calling this exact play out. And we see Layden and Camus running alongside Hugo, asking him if they are doing that. As Isagi turns around, he realizes that both wings are cutting inside to link up, as Layden, Hugo, and Camus create a new formation. And what is going on with the auras this game? We now got Naruto auras out here. They seem to be on some sort of clouds, and Camus got some white cloth, which apparently is linked to Japanese mythology, so you can add that to the robots and also demons. Even the non-important France players got motion out here, and I applaud this decision because it only makes sense for all the players to be good and not just certain few. Hugo then starts saying some BS, speaking like a robot, and says a loophole found as they start to use the loophole dribble. and there is just way too much going on here. Isagi was going after Camus, who was a bait, Karasu on Aladdin, who was also a bait, and Hugo weaving in between both of them to get past. Rayo calls this out, saying how the surround pass courses were decoys, wondering if he's planning to come alone. That's when Karasu shouts out, saying, no, there is still a pass, so we need to stay alert for the wings too. And I feel like every time Hugo gets the ball, disaster literally strikes the field, bro. Kunigami comes running in though, and maybe he'll finish Gabriel's job for Hugo, because he says all we have to do is crush him, right? He's the center of it all. But as Kunigami rushes in, Hugo blocks him back for the perfect defense. And at the exact same time, Loki appears out of literally thin air. Look behind Hugo! It was just a blank space! Hugo says it's destiny, and Loki says the preparations are complete, which got Kunigami stressing from Loki entering from behind, commenting on how bad the situation is. He tries to make sense of it by saying maybe this is what they're after, crowding the entire midfield, a hidden strike executed by those two only. Loki then turns into a shadow as he dashes down the field for a warp synchronization, as Hugo passes the ball all the way in front of him while still holding back Kunigami. Yeah, Hugo is literally an Avengers level threat. How he did that with Kunigami on him, I don't know, but Karasu got someone on him, Aryu got someone on him, and all bro can do is just turn his face 180 with the most shocked look. I got a real bad feeling about this, y'all. As Loki continues running though, Aiku comes in out of nowhere to try and intercept the pass in time, saying that he can barely make it. He says that if he can just make contact, even if it ends up being a foul, but that's when we see Loki start accelerating even more, which got Aiku surprised. Aiku comments how Loki is accelerating even without looking at the pass, and Hugo takes some time to throw an aura lob to Loki, saying he can run at 37 kilometers an hour, a slice spin trajectory at 8.5 meters a second. That is the aptitude of the world's best. Then the narrator says Vivian Hugo knows that he and Julian Loki's talents are both a rarity that occurs once every 50 years. He is fully aware of it. As the ball is heading towards Loki, it's now left to Gagamaru as he comments on how it's a pinpoint pass that can't be reached even if you see it coming. The pass was linked to the exact point of Loki's own top speed, the number 1 and number 2. Even if you understand it, you can't stop it. Loki then proceeds to activate Predator's Eye as well, and when Gagamaru was giving a whole speech on how the shot is impossible to stop, you just know it's over for us. As Julian Loki direct shoots the ball and immediately makes the goal, taking the lead back as Gagamaru comments how it's a violence of talent. And geez Louise, man, we cannot catch a break. It took all of our might for that one barou goal, and one chapter later, they're back to being in the lead. Peep Aiku too, bro. He reaching out his hand, grasping for straws at this point. Loki also beat all of the fraud allegations, finally doing something, and Hugo getting yet another assist. We just got done bad as well, because the goal looked effortless. But jumping back into it, the narrator says that's why Vivian Hugo dreams, as we see his gear cog eye. As Loki jumps up for his goal celebration, hitting the Shido goal celly from the U20, it's said that Hugo wants to change the history of football and dream of creating a legend. Isagi stares in pretty much awe at Loki's goal. Bro got more emotion for Loki's goal than Barou's goal, I'm not gonna lie. As Hugo nonchalantly just says a nice job to the goal, France is already back in the lead as the chapter ends off there. The chapter picks up right where we left off, with Loki still in the air jumping, the announcer screaming goal, and the France fans going wild in the crowd. They start by saying France has retaken the lead, complimenting the goal as a supernatural phenomenon, as Loki's feet are about to land and he hits his signature Mbappe goal celebration. And finally, Loki gaining back some aura after that first half performance. The pose is tough, no pupils, and he's just staring at us aura farming. Bro really think he Leorio? The score is now 2-3 in France's favor, as the announcers say the divine sprinter Julian Loki is here. And we immediately jump over to BLUELOCK's reaction, with Aiku scratching his head, saying, "Are you kidding me?" Man, this is just not a good look for Aiku. Bro was grasping for straws straws in the last chapter. He low-key hasn't done much in this game too, and now he's stressing out, scratching his head. He says, how are they supposed to stop something like that? And Gagamaru jumps in too, pretty much saying he's gotta be a bug, a human cheat code. And yeah, they're also doing my man Gagamaru dirty. He's still the GOAT no matter what, but he's conceded every goal so far, putting up XQC goalkeeper numbers. So hopefully he'll change that soon. Ryo brings up how they finally caught up only to be pulled away in an instant. And Karasu questions what the hell is going on with Loki and Hugo, asking if they're fighting against aliens or something. And really, Loki didn't appear for like every chapter besides the last one, and now he's getting out of this world glaze. Like literally, Karasu comparing it to fighting aliens is crazy to me. But yeah, I think we're cooked because Loki's doing something now. Hugo high-fives Loki, and we see there is 15 minutes left on the clock, which is a huge revelation because that means we're really close to the end of the game. Time be moving differently in BLUELOCK, like in the NEL, the 3-minute timer would last 7 chapters, yet we're almost done with the second half after 5 chapters. And an even bigger revelation is Ego says it's time for a change, as we see Atoya jumping in with Ego saying shake things up Atoya. What the hell is even going on? This gotta be the most unexpected sub-in of all time. Atoya of all people is entering the pitch. Now there are either people who think Atoya is straight garbage or people who think Atoya is good. There is no in between. So I feel like this is a pretty controversial sub, but to be fair, with Karasu taking over the team, they're definitely cooking something up with the two of them, because as we know, their dynamic is one of the best we've seen. Jumping back into it though, Atoya just says okay, he'll hit them with aura, and nah, never mind, recall the sub after that line. What is Atoya saying? This are literally those cornball memes, how he felt after saying that joke. More importantly though, the person being subbed out is Mikage Ryo. So sad time for the Ryo fans. Ryo was playing in the same position as Atoya, and I will say he hasn't done too much in this game besides copy Kunigami, and now the actual Kunigami is playing. Anyways, we see Isagi panting with his hands on his knees, commenting on Atoya being subbed in now. We get his inner thoughts on how Ego's intention is clear. Atoya has a ton of combination patterns with Karasu, which means he's signaling the team to switch to Karasu-centered attacks. As Isagi is dialoguing over this, Karasu and Atoya are talking to each other, and we see a look over the field with Hiyori, Barou, Shido, and Ryu. Who invited Ryu? I don't know. He continues to say everyone here understands it, that they're on track to lose if they keep it up, so even if their defense suffers a bit, the only shot at victory is to double down on offense. And as y'all can see, this is gonna be an Isagi yap-heavy chapter, but I like that BLUELOCK is doing an offensive formation for these last 15 minutes because it's what they do best. They are a team of strikers at the end of the day, so we gotta fight fire with fire. Granted, I don't know how well Atoya can compete against Barou, Shido, or the Ghost of Rin because he hasn't been appearing. At the bottom of the page though, Isagi, after going Ego's plan, says, but this also means he doesn't expect me to score any points, as he clenches his teeth with puzzle pieces breaking around him. He looks back as well and says it's not just me, it's a Rin too, as we see him gritting his teeth too. And finally, they're addressing the elephant in the room of Rin not showing up. He says right now, both of them are excluded from the Karasu system to turn this around, saying a damn it in frustration. We then see Isagi talking about everything going on in the game, and this panel is literally gorgeous. Isagi in the pitch dark with rippling water on the ground and puzzle pieces breaking around him. It's just too peak. Like I said earlier, he's going over the state of the game, like how the team belongs completely to Karasu, and how he hasn't been able to do a damn thing. He even questions if Ego has abandoned him and what can him and Rin do by themselves. Loki and Hugo are completely on another level. He's not a number one, and he can't see a way to win. But even with all of this happening, we see an x-ray of Isagi's heart, with him saying, even though things are so dire, why is he still so damn excited, as he clenches his jersey. We get a close-up of his eyes, and he wonders if he's so freaked out that he's going crazy. Not freaked out in that way, but he says no, he felt this way since the start of second half, ever since he realized how incredible Hugo is. He then remembers Hugo's goal from earlier, saying that his blood has been boiling and his mind is racing. Isagi then thinks back on previous players like Kira, Nico, Rin, Nagi, and Kaiser, as he says he's felt this excitement lots of times before. The feeling of finding someone who he wants to defeat. And that's when we see him finally make a realization this match, saying, "Is that it?" As it flashbacks over Kira, Nico, Nagi, and Kaiser, he says whenever he's able to trigger something beyond his own abilities, it's because at those very moments, there was a number one he wanted to surpass. After the Neo Egoist League, though, where he ended as the number one, he's been fighting to keep that title, as we see a reflection of him in the bathroom before the game. Isagi then laughs and says, of course that's unsuitable, as he stares at Karasu's back and says his talents and mindset aren't suited for being number one. And they ended up in this mess because he was trying to force himself anyways. And this is what we like to hear. Isagi taking accountability because his performance was bad no matter how hard you can defend him, but now it seems like things are turning around, finally getting rid of his fixation of a number one, which I've been saying in theories for the longest time now. Isagi says Hugo's theory is 99% correct. As we see a close-up of his heart beating, that last 1% though, Hugo has misunderstood his suitability. As Isagi looks forward, he says, "My ego, what gets me fired up?" And Ego comments too, saying, "Don't waver, BLUELOCK, live for your own goals until the end," as the game restarts. Here we go, y'all. The last 15 minutes, Karasu starts with it and passes it to his side, where we see barou, Shido, and Rin appear. Oh my god, all the strikers here got me hype. Hiyori was the one Karasu passed the ball to, and he comments how this is making him feel tingly. Hey, yo, what do you mean by that? But he tells Karasu not to miss it. As Hiyori dribbles past Camus, which is kind of impressive because Abatra couldn't get past him, and he gives the ball to Karasu. Karasu shouts for a 1-2, but Bats comes in out of nowhere, slamming into Karasu, and look at that damn impact. They gotta each have a broken bone by now. But Bats calls out how he's the crux, and if he crushes them, they win. So Karasu decides to aura lob and just says sorry, he's just an after image, as he passes the ball to Atoya, saying go on, shadow clone. And Atoya making his debut in the U20 World Cup, the shuriken aura going everywhere too, and he says he's slipping through, baby, as he weaves a defender on the quicks. All bro can do is say whoa for real, and we got him doing the Oliver Aiku, reaching out his hand, and he says watch out for a cross, as another defender tries to run in front of him. All three strikers are waiting for a pass. Shido says here it comes, Rin says come on, and barou says pass it. But Karasu says no, shoot it, and that's when Atoya makes a hand sign, getting ready for the shot. And I'm hella dead. Bro had to pull out the shadow clone jutsu before a shot, and we see him go for it, but immediately Loki blocks it with Godspeed, teleporting to the goddamn ball. Oh no, folks, our worst fears are coming true. Loki is starting to do something. First, it was the goal, and now he's actually defending. Atoya is stunned, saying so fast, and Loki tells him he seems to be Karasu's auxiliary shadow striker. He's a pain, but if he can see him, he can stop him. Which is low-key a fire line, Loki making up for that aura loss big time. Karasu is ticked off, Hugo just nonchalantly says a nice one, and Hiyori is panicking, saying a second ball, because Hugo is coming back. And as we think France is about to take possession again, white-haired Isagi comes in and gets to the ball before Hugo. You can't be serious right now. Oh my god, he's back. Prime Isagi Yoichi is here. It's like seeing an old memory, dog. It's been so long since we've seen the white-haired Isagi. This is just making me smile ear to ear, and this panel is absolutely insane as the puzzle pieces are flying behind him, and we get a close-up view of his eyes as he says, "This was destined, you consulted bastard." Isagi Yoichi, the man you are. This is the one we know and love. He's finally figured something out. He heard all that slander from before and knew he had to have a generational pull-up. What's crazy too is that this even takes Hugo off guard for the first time this match, as he says Isagi Yoichi, and as Isagi lands with the ball, he says he's not number one, but he's not just the second best either. He then reaches out his hand and says he can only shine when he's devouring the best. He is a rebel. You can feel the aura through the screen. So this is where we finally see Isagi doing something. These last 15 minutes are about to be cinema, folks. I can't get over this design as well. The eyes, the hair, the puzzle pieces flying everywhere. Hands down, the best Isagi Yoichi design. Isagi with possession of the ball says utter as it zooms in on his eyes. He finishes his sentence saying suitability as the chapter ends off there. The chapter picks up with Isagi having the ball right in front of Hugo. It's time for the inevitable rematch, and I know Isagi fans have been waiting for this one. Hugo, staring at him, is surprised at Isagi's expression changing, saying he feels an immeasurable swell of concentration coming from Isagi. Isagi is no longer in the white hair mode, but his metavision eyes activate as he grits his teeth to face off against Hugo. And in the next page, we see Hugo literally standing in front of him like the final obstacle. And you know, when the two biggest yappers are about to face off, we're gonna get a ton of dialogue, and we immediately see that with Hugo analyzing Isagi's play, trying to understand how he managed to intercept the ball. He believes that Isagi determined BLUELOCK's attack wouldn't work and tried to get the second ball instead, and that's when Hugo's gear eyes appear too, anticipating Isagi's next play. Hugo says a shot from here is too far and wonders if he will dribble up himself or use a forward pass to one of the three players up front, as we see Rin, Shido, and Barou in front of him. So a lot of decisions on the board here, and I'm loving this matchup so far because we're finally getting the chess match of predicting each other's plays instead of Hugo just smoking Isagi. We see Hugo posed up like he's nice like that, doing his signature 2 fingers, telling Isagi to bring it on, wondering which destiny will he choose, as Isagi starts running towards him with one metavision eye activated. Isagi for real pulled out the Sharingan with that one eye metavision design, but passes to the side, taking Hugo off guard, and one can say Isagi dodged the fade. What's important though is that Karasu is the one who got the ball to everyone's surprise. Even Karasu didn't expect this, just peep bro's face. He wonders what Isagi is doing, and the next page shows him saying, "Come on, fellow second best." What's going on here exactly, I don't really know, because even Gagamaru and Aiku are in shock. Hiyori calls out that they're cooperating now and wonders if Isagi is planning to enter the system built around Karasu, as we see a crow made out of puzzle pieces flying above Isagi. And this right here is beautiful to me, the crow design, and Isagi cooking something up by entering the Karasu system, because we know from last chapter he was talking about devouring the number 1 and being a rebel, so we know he's about to cook soon, and Karasu smiles along with Isagi's plan, saying even the Demon King came down to me, and whoa, let's not be rash here, Karasu. This is crazy wording for one singular play. I know the Isagi haters are laughing seeing this. He tells Isagi, let's go extraordinary second best, and we see a 2v2 between Karasu and Isagi versus Hugo and Charles, with Karasu hitting a quick pass to Isagi, and Isagi 1-2s it back to him as he goes behind Charles. The crow feathers and puzzle pieces flying everywhere too are just a nice touch, and now we got past Hugo and Charles, which deserves a round of applause, because the France team didn't expect this at all, with Charles looking back and calling out the 1-2 pass, Layden asking what's going on, and Gavin says ad-lib a defense, they're trying to charge up the center. But in the next page, we see the biggest crash out in all of BLUELOCK, because Itoshi Rin is here, looking back at Isagi and Karasu's play, calling out Isagi, saying that he decided coordinating with him wasn't working, so he switched over to Karasu. And because of this, we see Rin's Destroyer Mode eyes activate, and he says, "How dare you try to cut me?" And as a Rin fan, I'm hyped to see Rin finally lock in, but this low-key comedy. Rin, unfortunately, was ghost this whole game, but the second Isagi chooses someone else, he turns on Destroyer Mode, veins popping and everything, got him looking like Thrag. When did they turn my boy into a yandere? I get he's a restrictive type ego, but it's still just funny to see. Anyways, we see the 90 minutes are up already, and how the hell 15 minutes passed in like 5 pages, the world may never know, but we see 2 minutes of additional time specifically. basically. Shigiri from the bench is yelling like Ichigo, telling the guys to get up there. Batra is here too, telling everyone it's their last chance to score. And this is giving me U20 vibes, showing the bench hyping up the team too. Even the commentator is yelling too, saying only 2 more minutes of added time left on the clock. Will France's Kings run out the clock, or will the Blue Lock Japan challengers catch up? As Karasu is running up with the ball, we see everyone gathering in front of him for both defense and offense, and Isagi is moving forward too, with Hugo right behind him. He tells Isagi that he's been waiting for this moment, commenting that it was his destiny for him to commit to being the team's number 2. Then questioning if Isagi understands why he's been guiding him and Japan to their true suitability. We get more Hugo yap, with him saying his dream is winning the World Cup 4 times. And in order to do that, he needs the France team to keep leveling up by fighting stronger rivals. In other words, he needs all the world's football players to follow their destinies. So in a nutshell, Hugo just did what Isagi did in the Nigeria match, motivating the team, leading them a certain way, all for the France's team's evolution, and ultimately to achieve his own dream, which again is some Aizen levels of manipulation. This man, whenever he talks, is scary, man. He really brought out the best in everyone to make him even better. This the same energy as Noel Noah making Kaiser his rival. And in the next page, Hugo's robot aura has taken over. Nah, flag on play. Are we looking at this properly? Hugo really out here moving like Cyborg. This cannot be allowed, dog. The stuff they're letting out on the field is crazy. Isagi to his side can't believe what he is witnessing right now, and Hugo tells Japan that they pass. Now let's reach our true ending in the showdown between teams of perfect suitability. At the bottom too, we see Isagi grit his teeth, and the Metavision eyes are activated as well. Here we go, y'all. Lock in. The final plays are here. We see Hugo move off of Isagi and towards Karasu, but before he can get there, Karasu, blocking one defender, chooses to pass it towards his side. It lands to none other than Hiyori, who has Camus on him, but he blocks him with one hand too and sends the ball away again towards Isagi, who immediately hits it towards Atoya, and he says K, as he passes it to his side once more with Karasu there, dodging 2 defenders. Karasu, looking around for more options, sees Isagi going through the back door and sends a pass to him, dodging Moist Critical. And Isagi gives it right back to Karasu, going behind Camus. The levels of dodging and weaving we are witnessing here, folks, is on par with the best fighting movies. And it continues with the Crow receiving the ball and putting his hand forward. It then jumps to Hiyori commenting on how Blue Lock is amazing. With Isagi making connections on par with Karasu, they've entered a new dimension. And Karasu hits the meanest weave we've ever seen by turning with the ball and getting past Camus, doing bro absolutely dirty, because he looks like he's not even aware of what's happening. This was just the cherry on top to an already good attack, and Karasu says, "Here it comes extraordinary," as he sends the ball back once again towards Hiyori, which takes Hiyori by surprise, wondering why Karasu is switching here. It's 28 yards to the goal so he can shoot, and then Karasu holds back Chappa and bats just like before. Hiyori realizes that this is the same shooting chance as before, but says it's even better than before as he looks around the field and sees he has a passing option to Shido or Barou. There are a ton of scoring options. Karasu has created the most optimal situation, with him telling Hiyori to now choose, and Hiyori trying to make a decision on his best choice, both with Metavision eyes activated. But that's when the squad of the best players pull up, because Hugo goes on Barou saying don't think about it, he'll crush him, and Charles goes on Shido saying he'll take him on. And for Hiyori, a new challenger approaches, because we see Loki start making a beeline straight towards him, saying you may have more options, but in the end, you're nothing but uncoordinated, egotistical rabble. Dog, Loki in these last 3 chapters has been moving different. Listen, if I was playing and I see in the corner of my eye this running at me with full speed, I'm already accepting my fate. We then get a close-up of Loki's face with the instinct eyes, telling Hiyori, if we keep you from making individual goals, you're utterly screwed. And the look on Karasu's face just says it all, and Hiyori is beyond bamboozled, saying no way with Loki, Hugo, and Charles' individual abilities, abilities. One snap judgment was enough to shut them down. Hiyori then wonders what level the France team is on and wants to take a shot, but realizes they're ready for the shot, ultimately coming to the conclusion he took too long to decide, as Loki slides right in front of him and gets straight to aura farming, saying game over. Never have I ever seen a lock-in this hard and this fast, because we were only worrying about Hugo a few chapters back. Now Loki's literally the final obstacle, saying game over. Hiyori's face of absolute shock about sums up this defense right now. But when all hope seems lost, a foot in the corner of the page takes one giant step. And Isagi Yoichi appears in his white hair mode again. He's here, y'all. He's actually doing it. I can't get over this design. It's way too hype anytime we see it. Got me feeling like it's my birthday. The puzzle pieces are flying everywhere. The eye design, everything is beautiful here. As he calls out to Hiyori, which got Hiyori with the question mark with 2 exclamation points. We get a close-up of Isagi's eyes with him yelling to pass it, you major sadist. But Hiyori just says Isagi's name. Hugo with his gear cog eye is shown too, which I got a bad feeling about. But the chapter ends off there. The chapter picks up right where we left off. Isagi is running down the field in his white-haired mode, and we get some reactions from both Barou and Shido. Both of them are in absolute shock, with Shido taken off guard and Barou just saying, you. And Karasu even chiming in, saying, are you serious? You're extraordinary. As you can tell by the veins popping on everyone's face, Isagi has really taken everyone off guard with his last-minute awakening. But anyways, Hiyori, who is still facing off against a blacked out eye Loki, which is scaring me at this point, grits his teeth and says, if we're going to be crushed by the prodigy right here, take it Isagi Yoichi, as Loki tries to block him with one hand and Hiyori passes the ball towards Isagi. The OG Ubers duo coming out again. You just love to see it. And Isagi finally being considered an option this match after being abandoned earlier. Isagi, still in his white-haired mode, says a nice partner, as the next page shows the ball flying towards him and a good look of him in front of the goal. We see Barou getting blocked by one France defender, and Shido has both Layden and Charles on him. So for all the Shido fans, I think at this point all hope is lost for a goal from him. I guess Kaneshiro wanted to subvert expectations because everyone expected him to score. Even I thought he was gonna score. But y'all still got the England game, I guess. We see an open path towards Renoir, the France goalkeeper, though, as Isagi stares back at the ball. Then we jump over to the goalie's thoughts. He talks about how bad the situation is. It's an exquisite pass right where a shooting lane opens up, and that Isagi Yoichi is coming, as we get a close-up of his eyes. And Isagi low-key looking majestic here. This design is always peak whenever I see it, but with him right in front of the goal, we know it's not going to be that easy. Because Hugo pulls up on the quick, and Hugo has been on point with a pull-up game this match. I just gotta say, anytime something good can happen, he is there. More importantly, though, we see Hugo's robot aura taking over yet again. He's damn near fully transformed into a clanker. Peep his hand, though. Holy smokes, did Hugo put on an Iron Man suit? Why, he got a Mark 42 hand blaster on him. He's gonna blast away Isagi like Team Rocket. Someone help, bro. Call it unparalleled levels of glaze, but his mere presence took Isagi out of white-haired mode. And if we're being honest, I really don't know who, what, when, or how this happened. Isagi is taken aback by the obvious exclamation point, and Hugo gets straight to yapping, saying he used everything, didn't he? Even entering Karasu Tabito's system, questioning if it was all just to outwit every friend and foe to score his own goal. In the next page, Hugo pops a damn domain expansion, and what is even going on? Take a gander at Isagi's face. He can't believe what the hell's going on either. As they hit the dash towards each other, Hugo considers another possibility. Will Isagi provide a pass for the sake of the team and become the number 2 who leads to a goal that surpasses even his imagination? And I'm sick of this Hugo guy. Every time he talks, he literally lies out every option like a game of chess. He's already predicted every move you're gonna do. Your next move is this dialogue. And with one of his eyes being taken over by his robot aura, he says, show me Isagi Yoichi, your choice towards your suitable destiny. Here we go. The final matchup is here, folks. Hugo, who has been dunking on Isagi the whole time, and Isagi looking for his get back when it matters the most. With the next page showing us Isagi activating upgraded metavision is saying it's neither of those. And just look at the determination in those eyes. He is so back, y'all. This even takes Hugo off guard, who just says, huh? And even Hugo didn't expect this. This is a revelation, folks. The man who has thought of everything is taken off guard. We then get a close-up of Isagi's eye as he says what he's been wanting is to crush him. This is giving Manshine vibes, with Isagi saying his only goal is to crush Kaiser, and with the way that went and the way he's been talking in these past few chapters, he might be giving the same treatment to Hugo. We see his feet start to slide across the pitch, and Isagi turns his back towards Hugo and says he will crush him in a luck decisive battle. Yo, the game face on Isagi, the puzzle pieces flying everywhere too. I am a happy camper. And on a real note, how did Isagi not twist his ankle with this Beyblade turn? This is absolutely hype though. Isagi challenging him to a physical battle, and we even see the puzzle piece of a luck battle to decide the winner between them. So you're telling me in order to beat Hugo, Isagi is straight gambling on luck to do so? All roads lead to gambling, I guess. For legal reasons, that's a joke. Don't gamble, y'all. But seeing this panel, I can already smell the comments coming from a mile away. Every Isagi hater calling him a luck merchant. In fact, there are already videos out there slandering him. Isagi haters saw this luck piece and treated it like society collapsed. Because his name changed from Mid-Sagi to Luck-Sagi, they can't believe Isagi is doing something at the last second again. Which I won't lie, is pretty funny. But we know that Isagi understands his luck and creates it. So to his defense, it's a lot deeper than what it seems on paper. Jumping back to it though, Hugo is surprised by this play and is wondering why Isagi pulled out a reversal right here. And we see the ball coming towards Isagi as Hugo wonders what he is planning, thinking straight away that he's recreating the exact same situation as the reversal shot in the Nigeria match. I also like how Hugo watched the Nigeria game so he can have a tactical advantage to knowing all of Isagi's skills, but for the sake of a surprise, none of the Blue Lockers knew about Hugo and what he's capable of. Me personally, I feel like that's a little unfair, but anyways, we see Isagi call out to Hugo saying he's the one who said it, right? That Blue Lock is just a team that's won through his 1% luck alone. A round of applause for Isagi, him clapping back with Hugo's own words. I've seen this one before. Isagi Yoichi might be back, folks. I can't believe it too, because Hugo calls out that Isagi got him. And oh my god, for the first time this match, Isagi has truly outplayed Hugo. And with Hugo staring at Isagi in shock, he continues saying with his body position like that. But the first half of the chapter ends off there on another cliffhanger. The chapter picks up directly where we left off, with the ball going towards Isagi and Hugo height-mogging him right behind him. Barou is on the side being blocked by a defender. Shido is also being blocked too, and we get some dialogue from Isagi, who tells Hugo if it comes down to luck, then his suitable destiny nor talent or aptitude matters. We see the ball continue to move as Isagi says as for him, or in his case, he will devour the number one. He will bet everything on his ego. Isagi's aura appears over his metavision eyes, and we see him absolutely locked in as he grits his teeth while telling Hugo, "You love to see it. I mean, it only took 90 minutes for Isagi to start doing something, but hey, better late than never." Hugo hearing this and looking at Isagi just says crazy. This is Isagi Yoichi, and now another player acknowledging Isagi. We also saw this in Nigeria when they first played against him too, which might just be straight narrative glaze, but hey, he's taken Hugo off guard. In fact, look at Hugo's eyes. It's no longer the emotionless, no pupil eye we usually see from him. Other players are reacting to Isagi's play as well, with Shido laughing at the top of his lungs, even veins popping out and everything. Barou is ticked off at Isagi's play. Let's be honest, what's new? When is he not? And Karasu even calls Isagi crazy with the most awe-shocked look in his face. And Hugo's reaction to all of this is him popping his gear cog eye straight out of the settings app and saying okay. In the next page though, we see the ball pretty much at Isagi's feet, and Isagi and Hugo are in a damn domain clash with puzzle pieces and cogs flying everywhere. I don't know what's going on, but I love it. Hugo, to pay respects to Isagi's rebellion, decides to run the faithful 1v1 and face Isagi head on, accepting the decisive luck battle. And then we get some inner monologue on Hugo trying trying to think of Isagi's next play. Reacting only after he traps the ball is too late, and that's when we see both Hugo taken over by his robot aura, right next to Isagi in his white-haired mode too, about to face off. Honestly, I don't know how Isagi's white-haired mode works. Like, is there a switch to it or a cooldown? He keeps going in and out of it. Bro changing costumes mid-game. Still trying to predict his next move, Hugo says reading the play nor cheap tricks will work. Wondering if he's going right or left. It's really a complete luck gamble as we see both Isagi and Hugo in a magnificent double spread. Nah, the break was worth it for this page alone. Look at this absolute beauty of a double spread. Witnessing this panel might be one of the best days of my life, up there with my own birth. Getting back to it though, we see the luck piece once again coming out and bouncing on the floor, just like the U20 game. And again, I can smell the comments of Isagi being a luck merchant from a mile away. But here we go, folks. Both of them are getting ready for the final play as the ball is heading towards Isagi's foot, and we see back-to-back double spreads as Isagi hits the ball up with his foot and to the opposite side of Hugo. Oh my god. He actually did it. Isagi actually outplayed Hugo. Not just mentally, but physically as well. Peep Hugo's face. He couldn't believe he failed the block. Our boy is back. After being embarrassed the whole game, he finally won against Hugo for the first time. I genuinely feel like a proud dad. And in the next page, we see Hugo turn around in absolute shock at Isagi's play. Surprised that Isagi hit yet another reversal. He miscalculated it. He missed the mark. We see Isagi spinning around towards the ball as well, all the puzzle pieces flying in, and Isagi wastes no time telling Hugo he won. Bow down to his luck. Nah, who do you think you are, Isagi? That's the guy we know and love, man. I will say, bro won one singular time and immediately went to trash talking. That is way too funny to me. It is justifiable, though, because the whole time, Hugo has been basically telling Isagi he is mid. Not even mid. He called him below average. So finally getting his get back at the final minutes, and Hugo is bugging hearing this, man. He got that realization blacked out panel, questioning if it's his destiny to lose here. As the ball is now in front of Isagi, we see him twisting and getting in prime position for a shot. But all of a sudden, Itoshi Rin in Destroyer mode appears out of nowhere. Nah, Isagi can't get a break. Just look at this abomination of an aura. Get that thing off the road. I love Rin, man, but he pulled out the boil, trouble, and toil aura out for this moment, even sticking his tongue out. Mind you, his 45-day training before the U20 World Cup was to control his impulses, and in the Nigeria game, we saw him say he doesn't need to stick out his tongue anymore. So we just threw all of that training out of the window. This man just loses all control when he sees Isagi's about to do something. It's like a kid in the candy store. He can't help himself. As Isagi is about to kick the ball, Rin says, does he think he'll just let him escape? Don't think he can just cast him aside and walk away scot-free. Dog, the Yandere Rin allegations are actually coming true. Isagi abandoned bro for 1 second, and he comes out of Timbuktu to tell Isagi he's still here. If we're trying to make sense of this though, Rin is the #1, and Isagi basically didn't take him into consideration of his plans. Keep in mind that Rin was the one backing him up before too, so we can blame Isagi for switching up. I'm totally not coping, by the way. Anyways though, Isagi looks to his side and says, huh? With Hugo looking on as well, absolutely flabbergasted. Got my man looking like Kuso out here. When have we ever seen Hugo make a face like this? This is not even shock at this point. This is damn near fear in his eyes. And trust me, if I saw this running at his own teammate, I would make the exact same face too. But at the bottom, we see Rin activate Predator's Eye while in Destroyer mode, telling Isagi he'll completely crush him. Here we go, folks. Both the #1s of BLUELOCK going for the ball at the last second. We are all watching in anticipation. Isagi grits his teeth, still in his white-haired mode, tells Rin to shut up, you freak, as both of them shoot the ball at the same time, saying this goal belongs to me. What in the power of friendship just happened? Nobody could have predicted this to happen. We all thought it was Isagi or Rin to score, not both of them. This is somehow the most BLUELOCK thing ever. The only time a power of friendship shot happens is when another person is trying to steal the goal. Like, even when it's teamwork, it's not really teamwork. teamwork. I'm really hoping that Rin being here didn't mess up Isagi. Otherwise, he's about to undergo slander never seen before in this community. He's already on a tightrope because of this game being called Rinvisible. I don't think I can handle it anymore, bruh. As the ball is heading towards the goal, Renoir is still on guard. Not gonna lie, next chapter might just open up with him doing a Toji cosplay. But as both the number ones go for the shot, we still see some distance between the shot and the goal, so could potentially someone come in for the block. We'll have to find out in the next chapter as it ends yet again on another cliffhanger. The chapter picks up with a destroyer mode Rin, tongue out and everything, sprinting towards the ball, and a white-haired Isagi about to kick it too. Immediately, we get a double spread not even 2 pages in, with destroyer Rin and a white-haired Isagi shooting the ball together. The power of friendship shot we saw in the last chapter. I will say the results of this shot right here dictates everything, whether or not Rin has generational slander, because in the last chapter he was already going through it just for going for the ball, so a lot is riding here for the Rin fans, including myself. And the other side, we see the impact of their foots colliding with the ball, spawning damn lightning strikes. This some Shaolin football technique I've never seen before. There is no dialogue in those past 2 pages. All there is anticipation as we get back-to-back double spreads of them shooting the ball. Hugo didn't have time to block. Barou watches it fly past in the most shocked expression I've ever seen from bro. Shido and Layden also tracking the ball too. As the ball flies past all of them, no Loki or Charles in sight. It's up to Renoir to block it. This is it, y'all. To tie the game, will the number ones of BLUELOCK perform when they need it the most? The stakes are at its highest. Renoir reaches for it. The ball is going. All of our eyes are glued to the screen in anticipation. What we've been waiting for, folks. We see it go past the goalie's hand and... oh my god. Isagi and Rin miss the shot and hit the crossbar. It's actually so cooked. This gotta be the most impactful miss in all of BLUELOCK. And I can already feel it coming from a mile away like goddamn hockey. This is about to spawn slander never seen before in this community, especially for Itoshi Rin. The lights were shining too bright. Everything was on the line for the shot, to tie France, to prove Japan can compete. This miss rivals your homie shooting his shot for that 10 out of 10. Just straight bricks. I know hitting that crossbar was the loudest thing in that stadium. Everyone heard and saw this. And peep Isagi and Rin. No! How do you even describe this face? This is beyond flabbergasted. The damn miss even got them out of their forms respectively. How is that even possible? And I just know Isagi is ready to slime out Rin. Y'all know Rin is my favorite character and the community didn't hold back a single bit. I feel like Itadori in that one panel getting laughed at. I can now relate to the Nagi fans. This single panel will forever be used as a way to get to Isagi and Rin fans. But we still got a lot more left to go. As the ball bounces off, we see Karasu yelling out, Shido looking up, Barou and a France defender staring in shock, as Julian Loki starts running for the ball. All right, wrap it up, gang. It's so over. We see the Godspeed lines. No mention of the timer either. So this is a telltale sign Loki is about to put on a masterclass. Karasu is just clenching his teeth watching. We see other players in front of Loki getting ready to stop him too. My dog Kunigami tries to get the ball first by jumping, but misses badly as a Loki runs in and traps the ball, getting past both him and Karasu. Atoya with the pull-up game though tries his best to stop Loki, but that's when Loki touches the ground and says bye-bye BLUELOCK. Then he proceeds to activate the blacked out eyes. We should absolutely be scared. This is how folks in Jujutsu Kaisen felt when Gojo arrived. Loki confidently aura gambling before the job's even finished. With Loki having the ball, we're past the point of no return. As he goes towards Atoya, hits him with the quick weave, got Atoya looking at a whole complete opposite direction. Sprinting down the field at an exceptional speed. Are you? What purpose does he serve? Loki slides to the left, getting past him with no difficulty. I can't believe it. This man has decided to do everything himself. And Isagi just looks on in complete and utter defeat as he curses and tries to break down the play. Mind you, in a mere matter of seconds, we went from almost scoring a goal and tying the game to one of their strongest players getting the ball and soloing half our team. As Isagi looks back, Hugo is running towards the opposite side of the pitch too, and we finally get some actual dialogue in this chapter. with Isagi stating by dragging it into a luck battle, he won that one-on-one against Hugo. And yet, at the very end, Rin came in and the impact of his own shot was thrown off, making it miss. And that's when Rin clicks his tongue in disappointment too. Oh no, so it's all but confirmed that Rin sold the shot for Isagi. The slander will never end. Even as a Rin fan, dog, this is gonna be too hard to defend. Someone said barou turns a 50-50 into a goal, and Rin turns a goal into a 50-50. What the hell? The creativity levels coming out just for the jokes and memes or something else. Not only did Rin ghost most of the match, the only time he appears, he was confirmed to ruin Isagi's goal. And then on top of that, he was pissed off himself, which is just making me laugh at this point. I already know the comment section is going to be filled with Rin slander and jokes. I can't even do anything about it too, because it was explicitly said Rin messed him up. However, we get some of the most important dialogue from this chapter, with Isagi saying if it wasn't for Rin, then getting a flashback to Ego's words, that everyone should be a striker, keep going for your own goal until the last second. Isagi then makes a realization, saying, according to that philosophy, Rin's action of going for the goal should be correct. And while Isagi is talking, we just see Aiku on the floor. Nah, bro is laid out like a picnic table. What is he doing splishing and splashing around? We didn't see bro defend. He's just on the ground. Y'all, I'm so disappointed. Aiku didn't even touch the ball once this match. Everyone did bad. The locker room is about to be just straight finger pointing and flaming each other. Isagi, continuing the monologue, says that, but if we lost because of Rin's play, it means that Ego's theory is wrong. And here we go, folks. Probably the most important line of dialogue for this U20 World Cup, and especially the next game against England. Because now Isagi is questioning the blue lock philosophy and has previously stated before that he needs to make his own theory to surpass Noel Noah. This dialogue right here is the key setup for Isagi's character in the next game, or even this whole arc. More importantly though, Loki has somehow made it all the way to Blue Lock's side, and with Aiku on the ground, he shoots the ball, and Gagamaru misses the block, leading to the final goal of the game. I have no words. Loki actually ran it down by himself. I won't lie, this literally saved Loki's whole character because everyone was thinking he underperformed until this very moment. And Gagamaru also conceded every goal this game. What did they do to you, son? I get the defense was trash, but this performance got tears in my eyes, and not in a good way. We also didn't even see Charles get a chemical reaction with Loki, even though it was hyped up, but I'm assuming Kaneshiro wanted Loki to have one insane feat individually for this game. Jumping back to it, we see the announcer screaming out, "Goal! Julian Loki has completed a 6-man solo dribble counterattack. The champions France have scored their 4th goal." The France fans are seen celebrating, the Japanese fans are all disappointed, hands over their head and everything. We see the ref blow the whistle as the commentators say, "Here it is." Ruthlessly, the whistle blows to end the match. More than any striker from Blue Lock is the closest to becoming the world's best after all, the prodigy Loki. We see Karasu tired, as he should be from carrying the team, whether you agree with him or not. Aiku on the ground, dog. You do not deserve this pose after your performance. 0 touches on the ball. Ryu is also tired. He had like 1 singular play too. You do not deserve to be tired. And the rest of the Blue Lockers are standing there in defeat. As the score is announced, Japan versus France 2-4. A defeat for Blue Lock Japan, as we see Henri in disbelief and Ego having no reaction per usual. The next page opens up with Loki yawning, saying Blue Lock is small fry. Nah, the disrespect is crazy. We've never seen this in Blue Lock before. Someone yawning after a full game. He didn't even do anything of noteworthiness until the end of the match too, which makes it all the more funny. And he lets out a sigh saying, "All right, it's over." Even though Blue Lock is super popular, this is all they got. Adding that it got a little bit thrilling at times. Hugo then chimes in saying, "That's true. A philosophy where everyone is a striker collapsed because they self-destructed on their own beliefs." And he continues to literally talk out loud, saying that they are a group of egoists whose destiny was to fall short of winning the World Cup, and whose suitability is to fall halfway through. He then looks back and tells them in a blacked out text box, "Goodbye, Blue Lock, my cogs of destiny who will never cross cross paths with me again. Yeah, I'ma keep it a buck. Hugo can talk all he wants. He's exactly who he thinks he is after this performance. But in the corner of the page, we see someone who would never let that slide. As they say, don't give me that goodbye crap. As Isagi is talking to Hugo, telling him his logic was completely destroyed by his luck. Ooh, baby, we getting the return of NEL Isagi with this game. First the white-haired mode, and then the post-game trash talk. He continues to tell Hugo that he understands it, doesn't he? What was destroyed wasn't just Blue Lock, it also means his suitable destiny theory was destroyed too. Hugo looks back at Isagi and he continues to question Hugo, saying with that, he's one of humanity's legends, a 4-time World Cup champion, laughing and scoffing at his dream. Isagi then makes Hugo's own 2-finger pose towards him and says, "Don't run away, you number 2 bastard." Okay, Isagi getting his aura back in these last few chapters. Although it was by luck, he's basically saying that Hugo won the battle but not the war, since he technically did win that 1v1 and would have scored if not for Rin. We then see Hugo smile for the first time, and I can't believe it, folks. He actually has emotion. The nonchalant man is smiling, making a peace sign towards Isagi and telling him he's annoying. Nah, the smile and the peace sign is just a violation. He hit Isagi with the Gary Oak signature. I would crash out if someone emoted on me like this after a loss. Loki and Charles are in the back as it says U20 World Cup Group Stage Match 3, France versus Japan. France wins 2-4. We get a close-up of Hugo's eyes as he looks at Isagi and says, "Let's meet again, egoist Isagi," as the game ends there. And that wraps it up. Every single chapter of the France versus Japan game from start to finish. So if y'all made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. I make a lot of Blue Lock content like this, so subscribe if you want to see more of that. If nobody's told you I love you, then you're hearing it from me. I love you.